three good options at quarterback, and as we bring in Todd McShay, eventually Urban Meyer settled on JT Barrett after Cardale Jones was the starter at the beginning of the year.
And they really had a breakthrough performance in their last outing against Michigan. And I think a lot of it had to do with the commitment and creativity that we saw in the run game. They ran the ball 54 times compared to just 15 passes. And they also showed a lot of different formations and variations of the option. One thing I like that they're doing more now, running the inverted veer option. They did this a lot with Tim Tebow in Florida. The running back usually gets the ball in the option game inside, but Ezekiel Elliott on that long run early in the game, he got it on the outside. And what they're doing now, extending that mesh point, so it gives JT Barrett time to read the defender, and when he does, he's able then to run inside. Two of the biggest runs came from that inverted veer that Tebow had so much success with. And talk about success, 214 rush yards for Elliott, 139 rush yards for JT Barrett. I know this Notre Dame secondary is beat up, but I still think they're going to be committed to running the football with these two stars.
They pounded Michigan on the ground in their lopsided win in that rivalry game. Ready for the coin toss. Here's our referee from the Southeastern Conference, Hubert Owens.
Won the toss, elected to receive. Good luck, gentlemen. Let's have a good football game.
Here's a look at our Battle of the Iconic programs, brought to you by Battle Frogs. These two teams have combined for 14 national championships during the Pole era. Each has produced 7 Heisman Trophy winners. 6 different players for Ohio State have won Heisman trophies. Of course, Archie Griffin won 2. 95 first-round draft picks in the NFL, including 4 #1 overall picks. And all kinds of talent on both sides here today. We'll talk a lot more about that with Todd as we go. But there are a couple of players in this game who could be the #1 overall pick in the next NFL draft. Urban Meyer, the winningest coach in the country among active FBS coaches with at least 10 years of service. 85% his winning percentage. He's 49-4 in 4 years at Ohio State. Success everywhere he's been: Bowling Green, Utah, and Florida. And Brian Kelly won Division II national titles at Grand Valley State to get his head coaching career started. And now with the retirement of Frank Beamer at Virginia Tech, he has more wins than any other FBS head coach, 226, and he's just 54 years old. In his 6th year at Notre Dame, the only coach to lead the Irish to a bowl game in each of his first 5 years, and now he's done it for the 6th year in a row. Notre Dame, as you heard Hubert Owens say, will receive the opening kickoff. Jack Willoughby to tee it up for the Buckeyes. Willoughby, a graduate transfer from Duke, brilliant student, graduated from Duke with a 3.9 GPA. C.J. Sanders, dangerous return man, brought one back for a touchdown in their last game against Stanford. Willoughby smart, but that wasn't very smart. Even though Sanders is dangerous, Urban Meyer didn't want him to kick it out of bounds. So they'll come out and start at the 35-yard line, led by the redshirt freshman from Toledo, Ohio, Deshaun Kaiser. 8-2 is the starting quarterback. Malik Zaire started the first 2 games. He got injured. And you see the numbers put up by Kaiser. Dangerous, like JT Barrett, as a runner and as a thrower.
Yeah, 499 yards rushing, and they got a little zone read in their offense. And Deshaun makes good decisions. I think one of the areas of improvement from his first start has been his decision making.
Terrific size, as you saw. 6'4½", 230 pounds. One of the main jobs for Kaiser today, be aware where Joey Bosa is, the All-American defensive lineman, number 97, who lined up inside on the first play. Raekwon McMillan, the linebacker, came on a blitz, and Kaiser escaped. Got ahead for 3 yards. Today's Impact Players brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
We start out with Will Fuller, who they did run deep, but the blitz forced Kaiser to pull it down. Josh Adams, outstanding freshman running back. Joey Bosa, who I think should be the #1 draft pick overall. And a matchup would be Will Fuller on Eli Apple, Ohio State's best cover corner.
Josh Adams is the running back. They hope C.J. Prosise can play today, their leading rusher. He's been bothered by an ankle injury. Adams, the freshman, yanked down by Joey Bosa and Sam Hubbard. Both teams are depleted along the defensive line. In the case of Ohio State, their 2 inside players, Adolphus Washington and Tommy Shutt, aren't here. Washington suspended, Shutt injured. So Bosa might play inside and out.
Yeah, he's a threat on all angles. He's playing inside right now. That's a matchup on the guard that Ohio State loves.
Brian Kelly said he doesn't mind that as well. They have great size on the interior of that offensive line. They think they can handle Bosa inside. Kaiser looked like he was going to get swarmed under, escaped a couple of times, and then finally got taken to the grass by Darren Lee. Just shy of the 42-yard line and about 3 yards short of the first down.
Sean, the first 2 times they've thrown the ball, Kaiser has not had time to survey the field, forced to tuck it. Then the speed of the pursuit of the Ohio State defense gets there.
That's a gutsy protection too, Chris, going with empty backfield, so no additional help from a tight end or a running back. Pressure gets there, but give the secondary a lot of credit. They dropped 7 there. They're able to cover up the Notre Dame wide receivers.
Freshman punter Tyler Newsome in to punt. Jalen Marshall back deep to receive it. And a good kick over the head of Marshall. Takes a good bounce for a moment for Notre Dame and then into the end zone. 58-yard punt. It'll come out to the 20-yard line. Ohio State's quarterback J.T. Barrett, the sophomore from Wichita Falls, Texas. 14-2 as the starting quarterback at Ohio State. And over the last 8 games, 11 rushing touchdowns, and he's thrown for 8. His 5th start of this season, Cardale Jones was the starter at the beginning of the year. The offense wasn't always in sync. They went to Barrett, who gives them more of a running threat. And his first throw is on target to Michael Thomas, their leading receiver, pulled down. They're going to give him forward progress for an 8-yard gain, and Nick Watkins made the tackle. A new starter making his first career start today with injuries and suspensions in the Notre Dame secondary.
And Ohio State will like to go tempo, Sean. They felt like they had a lot of success against Michigan when they went at a fast pace.
Inside handoff to one of the best running backs in the country, one of the best in Ohio State history, Ezekiel Elliott. And he rumbled for a first down to the 35-yard line, a gain of 6.
Well, if you're Notre Dame, you look at the success that Ohio State has running the football. When you got a chance to make a play at the hole, at the point of contact with Ezekiel Elliott, they have a missed tackle right there against the power back.
The Irish bring a blitz. Barrett just did get it off, complete to Braxton Miller, and he is ruled stopped at the 43-yard line. That's a gain of 8.
Seeing the field, the most important thing a quarterback can do when he does face pressure. Right here, there's no panic by J.T. Barrett. Understands the weakness of the blitz coverage is where the blitz is coming from, and delivers a catchable ball to Braxton Miller.
Now they hand it to Braxton Miller. Terrific move. He's across midfield and into Irish territory, deep into Irish territory. They're going to mark him out at the 29-yard line, chased out by Elijah Shoemake.
Why Todd McShay loves Ezekiel Elliott, not what he does with the ball all the time, but what he does without the football, number 15, into your screen. Going to chop down the corner right there, the spring, Braxton Miller.
They get quickly to the line of scrimmage. The fake to Ezekiel Elliott, a good catch by Jalen Marshall. And he's dropped after a 7-yard gain by Jalen Smith, the best linebacker in the country, the winner of the Buckeye Award.
Early for Ohio State, getting tempo every single play, getting the line. The defenders for Notre Dame are just getting.
Obviously a problem with Todd's mic. We're working to correct it. Ezekiel Elliott up the middle. Excuse me, it's JT Barrett after the fake to Ezekiel Elliott. And he's down to the 11-yard line. 11-yard gain, first down. Elijah Shue made another tackle. He's been busy at the safety spot.
They have him guessing. They got Notre Dame on their heels.
Elliott powers ahead, runs over would-be tacklers to the 4. Well, Todd talked about the tempo, and Ohio State felt like at Michigan, when they went at a faster pace, it helped an offense that really has struggled to find rhythm all year long get in rhythm.
And it also limits the defense on the number of calls you can make.
Barrett keeps after the fake to Elliott. One of the reasons they can do this, they had co-offensive coordinators. Ed Warner was calling the plays from the field. He went to the press box for the first time for the Michigan game and felt he could get the plays in faster.
Just because of what he could see, ball position.
3rd down and 1. Elliott, touchdown. Impressive opening drive by last year's national champs.
Shot, it's almost too easy. I mean, when they have balance, and one of the things Ohio State struggled in was consistency throwing the football. They established the pass on the first drive. That allowed them to do this. Then when you have Ezekiel Elliott, your All-American, taking Jalen Smith, Notre Dame's All-American, into the end zone, and a good surge by that offensive line is a good sign for Ohio State.
Sean Nurnberger to attempt the extra point. And it is good. Well, some wondered about the motivation level of Ohio State. Defending national champs, in position to be in the playoff all season long until that loss to Michigan State. They are clearly ready to go today. Aerial coverage of today's game provided by Goodyear. Whether you're going for it from a few yards out or from miles away, go with a tire with superior performance. Goodyear, more driven.
What he's telling the defense right there, Sean, he's talking to his defensive backs. You have to get up and challenge the short routes that Ohio State had success on that first drive. They're not a vertically pass throwing team. Get up and challenge them and eliminate the yards after catch.
They're playing without starting safety Max Redfield. He was sent home from Arizona for a violation of team rules. Devin Butler was going to start at corner for the injured Kavari Russell, but he broke his foot this week, so Nick Watkins, a 3rd-string corner, got the start today, the first of his career. C.J. Sanders from the 2 and gets only to the 12-yard line. Jack Willoughby's kick well covered by Denzel Ward. Your New Year's Day college football fix continues. What a way to kick off the new year. 5 Eastern time, the granddaddy of them all. The Rose Bowl game presented by Northwestern Mutual. Stanford and Iowa. Then at 8:30 tonight, 16th ranked Oklahoma State battling Ole Miss in the All-State Sugar Bowl from New Orleans. Both games on ESPN, also streaming live on Watch ESPN and the ESPN app.
And that Stanford Iowa game had to be a good old-fashioned slobber knocker. Both of them lining up, knocking out, find out who's tougher.
Second possession for Deshaun Kaiser. An Ohioan playing against the Buckeyes. He grew up a Michigan fan in Toledo near the Michigan border. Swings it out wide. Amir Carlisle dances across the 15-yard line. Raekwon McMillan, Darren Lee, linebackers out there to make the stop.
It's a good read by Deshaun. He had Darren Lee off the edge through the quick screen, and Notre Dame's athletes have to be able to beat Ohio State's athletes in space. Right there, Eli Apple, the fine corner, won that battle.
4 receivers spread the formation now for Notre Dame on 2nd and 7. And the pass drops. C.J. Prosise, the running back, usually sure-handed, 26 catches for the year, 4th on the team. Just back in action. He didn't play at Stanford. bothered by an ankle, and he's had a concussion.
You have to worry about Joey Bosa. Now, when you double or you're concerned with Bosa number 97, that puts the other defenders in a one-on-one situation to get to the quarterback.
Raekwon McMillan, the middle linebacker, showing blitz. Darren Lee also up on the line. And flags before the snap for a false start against Notre Dame.
False start. Offense. Number 78. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
Ronnie Stanley, the terrific left tackle, certain to be a first-round pick.
Anytime you feel pressure, sometimes you get a little antsy, especially as an offensive tackle. You want to get to the outside and protect that corner.
Second team AP All-American. He was first team for Walter Camp and the Football Writers Association of America. Straight ahead on the run. Josh Adams didn't go far. Ran into Joey Bosa.
Well, this is what makes him great. Not only is he a great pass rusher, but he's an intelligent football player. Seeing a short set by the offensive tackle, hands inside, and he can two-gap a guy and make a solid tackle. Just as effective playing the run as he is as a pass rusher.
And Darren Lee, the initial hit. There's Tyler Newsome to punt for the second time. The first one traveled 58 yards into the end zone. This one's much shorter. Bounces right into the hands of Jalen Marshall. And he's chopped down at the Notre Dame 43-yard line. Nico Fertitta made the tackle. 42-yard punt, 12-yard return. Bosa and the Buckeye defense got the ball back quickly.
The 2016 Battle Frog Fiesta Bowl, brought to you by Battle Frog. Battling is believing. The Capital One Quicksilver Card. Earn unlimited 1.5% cash back every purchase every day. Nissan, premier partner of the Heisman Trophy. And Taco Bell's Crunchwrap Sliders. 4 full-size flavors, just $1 each.
Fans earlier this morning trying out the Battle Frog obstacle course here at the Battle Frog Fiesta Bowl Fan Fest just outside University of Phoenix Stadium. Battle Frog is a fast-growing fitness lifestyle brand anchored by its obstacle race series. Obstacle races all over the country this year. J.T. Barrett with the great field position. Wide open receiver. Marcus Baugh, their number 2 tight end, just his second catch of the year. Chased out of bounds by Matthias Farley.
Well, where's the downfield passing game been all year? Well, it's been in J.T. Barrett's hands. The problem was he's been sitting on the bench a lot of the time. Now they have execution on running and passing.
J.T. Barrett lost the football, and Jacoby Bourne, the center, got it back. Fumble cost them a couple of yards. They'll spot it outside the 15-yard line.
Ball security. He does put the ball on the ground once in a while. A good job of the Notre Dame defender stripping at that football, Sean, but the balance right now that Ohio State is exhibiting. See if this is Jalen Smith down and getting finished off.
And that would be a huge loss for the Irish. They've battled injuries all year. With Nick Watkins starting for the first time today, they've started 37 different players on offense and defense. And you hope it's nothing serious with Smith, not just for today, but there is a young man with a very bright future. We talk about first-round picks in this game, potential #1 overall picks. There are a lot of NFL people here today. I talked to one personnel man who said he thinks Jalen Smith is the best, player in the draft, the upcoming draft.
He's not far away. I mean, I think he's close to Bosa's, probably the second best defender, and has really improved his game, especially on take-on blocks. He can run, smart.
And he's shown versatility too, being able to play outside and inside, and really has become a much smarter football player over the last couple of years. He's learned to depend on himself and his instincts, and a lot of hard work in the film room. I mean, Sean, I think you're right. I mean, There are teams I've talked to that think he's the #1 prospect in this class. Joey Bosa for Ohio State at defensive end. But bottom line is he's very, very likely to be a top 5 pick.
This is one thing you're concerned about. And when you look at Jalen Smith, the one thing I love his practice habits. He gives everything he has. And this was his all-star game. Being an underclassman, he wanted to come out and shine today as they help him off.
He's a junior. We spoke with him yesterday. We asked if this was going to be his last game. He said he wasn't ready to say that, but he would make an announcement within the next couple of days after visiting with his family. And this, I think, was already going to be his last game. I mean, everything he said without saying it to us indicated this was going to be it. Tavon Coney, a true freshman, comes in for him. And I'm sure this is Jalen Smith's worst nightmare, what might be his last college game with a bright future ahead of him professionally. An injury.
Hate to see that. Hate it.
Curtis Samuel now goes in motion. He lined up on the right hip of Barrett. Michael Thomas, touchdown, Ohio State.
Well, if you're not going to get up and challenge a wide receiver and give him too much room to operate, JT Barrett is on target and on time today. They motion to quads. You have a one-on-one situation, and there's no challenge by Watkins. Now, it's interesting to me that Ohio State would challenge Watkins. Why wouldn't you, Sean? He's the 3rd corner that Notre Dame has in this football game.
Lots of problems on defense now for Notre Dame, compounded by the departure of Jalen Smith. Nurnberger added the extra point. Just 3 plays to go 43 yards. It took 45 seconds. Michael Thomas, his 18th career touchdown reception. 14-0 Buckeyes. Celebrating its 11th year, sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, Allstate makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds. For each field goal and extra point kick, to date, Allstate has contributed millions in scholarship funds. Ohio State leading 14-0. 2 possessions, 2 touchdown drives of 80 and 43 yards. And Jack Willoughby kicks off for the 3rd time already, not even midway through the 1st quarter. C.J. Sanders in trouble again. Excellent special teams coverage. Denzel Ward again leading the charge for Ohio State. Here's Todd McShay.
We talked about all the prospects in this game. 22 players in our top 200 overall, 12 for Ohio State, 10 for Notre Dame. There's no 2 teams in the country with more in terms of guys that will be drafted coming up in 2016. And you look here, 7 in our top 32 overall, all the way down to Taylor Decker, the offensive tackle, at 30, and Michael Thomas at 31. Jalen Smith, that we saw with the injury, the #7 overall prospect, and Ronnie Stanley at #8. So a lot of talent between these 2 teams we're seeing on the field today.
That's something Coach Meyer was concerned about, Todd, is a mass exodus. I'm talking about Jalen Marshall's a guy that's been thinking about coming out.
What a catch. One-handed grab by Tory Hunter. And a 1st down for Notre Dame on a 12-yard completion to the 25.
Yeah, he's an explosive football player on the offensive side. And sometimes when you make a play like that, that can spark your team. And I wouldn't be surprised if Notre Dame goes a little tempo right now, Sean, to get Kaiser into some type of rhythm.
First down for the Irish. Josh Adams, the freshman, is the running back. And he ran into Bosa almost immediately.
I mean, you can't move him because his hands and great body lean. His hands get inside, hands in when he extends and he one-arms a guy, throws him away, and makes a play. That is why he should be the #1 pick overall. He's tremendous, and he can play inside, he can play outside. If you want him, he can drop.
2nd team AP All-American. Wow. He was 1st team Walter Camp, the American Football Coach Association, and the most important one, ESPN.com, of course. Tory Hunter again. Very near a first down as he shoved out of bounds. You saw Bosa all the way to the sideline downfield to be involved in the end of that play.
And that was my point, that he can drop. I wasn't being facetious. He can drop. I mean, that's what he does very well.
Now, you're a Buckeye. You live in Columbus. Are you his agent? I'm starting to think maybe you have some sort of an arrangement with this young man going forward.
I'm not his agent, but I recognize.
You'd like to be, though. Everybody would like to be.
He's just a tremendous talent. I think he's probably maybe the second best Ohio State defender in the history of the school, next to Antoine Winfield. Those are my top two.
Thank goodness you said.
Yeah.
You said Chris Spielman. I would have literally fainted. You were the most humble person I know. Josh Adams run down by Raekwon McMillan, and that's good because Todd McShay's at the other end of the humility spectrum, so we have good balance in that regard.
A little rhythm for the Irish right now. Something on the ground, and again, Hunter made that nice catch. Sometimes that can spark a team.
Five receivers spread the field for Deshaun Kaiser, and he threw it away. Terrible decision, and Tyvis Powell picked it off. The safety banged down by Josh Adams. Flag down, back behind the original line of scrimmage along the near sideline. Hubert Owens, the referee out of the Southeastern Conference. Of course, these officials rewarded for an outstanding year. Each of these officials among the highest rated at his position in the Southeastern Conference. They didn't work together as a crew, although Hubert has a couple of members of his season-long crew here, but several of them are from other crews.
Personal foul, targeting. With the crown of the helmet, defense, number 97.
Whoa!
15-yard penalty from the previous spot. The previous play is under further review.
That's Joey Bosa. Of course, it'll be reviewed by John Bible in the replay booth.
Here comes Bosa closing in on Deshaun. I think the problem if you lead with your head, Doug.
Doug Rhodes is the former supervisor of officials for the ACC, longtime on-the-field official with us here today. What do you think, Doug?
Well, one of the initial elements always of targeting, there's two types. One against the defensive player, second one is use of the crown. Lowering the head, and you see right here, lowers the head, goes right into the frame with the crown. That's targeting.
If his face mask was up, if he would have hit him with his eyes, would he have been okay?
Correct. And I think the crown is obviously subject to definition, but it's clearly the top portion of the helmet. There's indicators of it. One is dropping the head.
Well, this could change the game dramatically if he's on his way out. Here's Hubert Owens.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Number 97 is disqualified.
Wow. So Bosa, who's been dominant here in the first 9.5 minutes, is out of the game.
That's their second defensive lineman. Remember, they lost Adolphus Washington suspension before they came out here. Tommy Shutt, also a defensive tackle, broke his foot. Now, Bosa hits with the top of his helmet. That's targeting. That's the rule. And what you want to try to do, and what coaches try to coach, is put that head to the side and lead with your shoulder. You'll always be safe, or hit with your eyes or with your face mask. That's a tough break for Joey Bosa, just like it's a tough break for Jalen Schmidt.
Two of the best defensive players in the country, maybe the two best, and it's possible they're both done for the day. Bosa certainly is. He's already told Urban Meyer he's not coming back for his senior year, so a horrible way to end a brilliant Ohio State career. And Jalen Smith's hurt, and it remains to be seen if he'll return for Notre Dame. But a huge break for the Irish offense. They don't have to contend with Bosa. Will Fuller tackled immediately by Gary on Conley. Bosa's sack numbers way down, Chris. 5 this year, 12 last year. But Luke Fickell, the defensive coordinator, said he's a much better player. He draws double and triple teams all game long. And now the Irish don't have to worry about that up front.
Yeah, and you know they have Sam Hubbard in now, number 6, who's a bright star and also a threat. And they attack Sam Hubbard with a rollout pass right off the first time, going after the side that Bosa was normally on.
No doubt this could be a huge game changer. Everything going Ohio State's way early. And now Josh Adams turned the corner with little opposition, out of bounds at the 32-yard line. Another Notre Dame first down. And as Bosa departs, let's go to Todd for a quick update on Jalen Smith.
Well, Jalen now is heading off on a cart. They've checked his lower leg and his knee. It appears to be some type of knee injury because they put the brace on his left knee. He's on a cart. We have no official word, but it does not appear that he'll be back today.
I think everything that's at stake for his future, there'd be no reason to put him back in, and certainly with the look on his face, he was biting that towel.
Offense,
distraught.
number 68, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
You only want the best for him and all these guys. I hate when guys get hurt on the football field, and that's part of the game. But for Jalen Smith, he's put so much hard work in. He's a potential #1 first-round draft pick, and just a great kid. And just hate to see that. I hate it. But you got to play. Let's go.
Makes Brian Kelly's job of play calling, with considerable help from Mike Sanford, the offensive coordinator, a lot easier. After the false start penalty against Mike McGlinchey, Deshaun Kaiser could not get away from Darren Lee. Another one of those juniors, redshirt sophomore in Lee's case, who could be leaving after this game. Urban Meyer said that's the big elephant in the room. 7 or 8 juniors might depart after this game for the Buckeyes.
And one of the things Darren Lee can do is close with speed. You're going to watch right here. Normally Deshawn Kaiser can outrun these type of guys, but Darren Lee, one of his best physical attributes is his ability to close with speed and finish.
Loss of 8 more on the play, so the Irish have backed up to the Ohio State 45-yard line. And a timeout with the play clock just about to expire. There is a flag down, but they got the timeout first. We've taken 2 things you love and made it one thing. Watch ESPN is now the ESPN app. If it's on ESPN, it's on the ESPN app. So download it now and start streaming live. It's be a great day to have it. With this Battle Frog Fiesta Bowl getting a great day of college football started. The Rose Bowl game next, and then the All-State Sugar Bowl tonight.
Might be time to get Will Fuller involved. He's in man-to-man coverage down here against Garyon Conley.
Third possession of the game for Notre Dame. You saw the graphic. They didn't have a first down their first 2 possessions. Josh Adams. That's slowed by Sam Hubbard. We'll see the bulk of the time now in the absence of Joey Bosa. And he's a talented athlete. Came in as a 205-pound safety out of Archbishop Moeller in Cincinnati. They've bulked him up to 265 pounds, and now he's a defensive lineman.
And he's only getting better. Also provides speed off that edge.
He was going to go to Notre Dame to play lacrosse, and then when Ohio State offered him as a football player, he chose that option. 3rd and 18. They're not in field goal range in all likelihood. And a pop-up over the head of Durham Smythe, the tight end, who's been out since week 2 at Virginia when he injured a knee, returning for the bowl game. 4th and 18, and the offense is still on the field for Coach Kelly.
If they can protect a little bit better, they had a first down because you had Will Fuller breaking across the middle, wide open for the first down. But that pressure is forcing him to leave his first and second read a little early. If they can protect him, then they can start hurting Ohio State down the field, but the pressure has been constant and consistent from that Buckeye defense.
So after some consideration, Coach Kelly sent Tyler Newsome on to punt. And nice coverage downed inside the 5-yard line by Matthias Farley, one of 5 team captains playing in his final game for the Irish. 34-yard punt. We mentioned at the top of the telecast just the 6th meeting all time between these two schools. They played a home and home in the mid-30s, and then they played again in the 90s. The Buckeyes won both of them in a home and home series. In the last meeting, the end of the 2005 season, the 2006 Fiesta Bowl, won by Ohio State. Troy Smith, the quarterback. Brady Quinn was at the helm for the Irish. Charlie Weiss and Jim Tressel, the coaches. J.T. Barrett after the fake. Swung it out wide for Michael Thomas. Stopped by Nick Watkins at the 11.
No secret to where Ohio State's attacking in the secondary. You go at the substitute. Remember, they lost Jabari Russell, Devin Butler, Nick Watkins, a young player, bright future. But Ohio State has a big target on him. They go after him, matched up with Ohio State's best wide receiver, Michael Thomas.
Design run for Barrett. Brian Kelly said stopping the quarterback run is job one for the Notre Dame defense. They did it well that time. Well, it's been a problem all season long in that secondary with injuries and suspensions. Most recently, earlier this week, Devin Butler broke his foot and Max Redfield was suspended for a violation of team rules and sent home. Drew Tranquil was injured while celebrating a pass breakup against Georgia Tech. So Brian Van Gorder, the defensive coordinators, had to figure it out on the back end all season long. Sean Crawford would have been the nickel, but he tore an ACL in the preseason. Barrett got popped but got it off for a first down. Jalen Marshall tackled at the 22-yard line by Nick Watkins with help from Elijah Schmidt.
It just seems to me, Sean, that J.T. Barrett has seen the field much better than he did during the regular season. Right here, understanding blitz, coming back to Jalen Marshall, who finds a soft spot in the zone and hits it.
They're hit by James Onwalu on the last play, a blitzing linebacker. Elliott out to the 28-yard line. Here's Todd McShay.
But everything that they're doing is with tempo, and even in the passing game, throwing the ball, getting the ball out. Yes, they're depleted, Notre Dame, in their secondary. Instead of trying to work the vertical game, where they've struggled, to trying to get their receivers the ball to go beat them one-on-one.
Braxton Miller chased out of bounds by Sheldon Day, the outstanding defensive lineman, and he's another of the walking wounded for the Irish. It looks like he's limping a little bit. He hurt his foot the other day at practice. They sent him for x-rays. No broken bones, but he's sore, but gutting it out today.
Yeah, and the best part about his game, Sean, is his get off on the ball. Really quick first step. And certainly having a sore, tender foot can hamper that strength. Jerron Jones now in the game, number 94, back from injury from the preseason.
Yeah, he hasn't played all year, but is out there playing today after that preseason knee injury. End of the first quarter, Ohio State leads 14-0, but they'll play the rest of it without the All-American defensive end and tackle Joey Bosa.
AT&T presents the strongest of the strong.
What are you guys doing to get pumped for the game?
Streaming Rudy.
That's a great movie.
I like that
movie.
movie.
I love the strong movie.
Yes, sir.
Let's see what we're looking.
Hey, guys.
That's not Rudy. That's actor Sean Astin.
Yeah. Rudy.
You can call me Sean, guys. It's been 22 years.
Come on, Rudy.
Come
relax.
Please call me Sean.
Rudy, Rudy, Rudy.
Get stronger with AT&T, the network with the nation's strongest 4G LTE signal.
We welcome you back to ESPN's presentation of the 2016 Battle Frog Fiesta Bowl. Beautiful day here in the Valley of the Sun. The roof is closed here at University of Phoenix Stadium. Ohio State leading 14-0. Brian Kelly's Irish trailing after the first quarter for just the third time this year. They gave up exactly 14 points at Clemson and at Stanford in the first quarter, and those games were their only losses entering this bowl game. For the most part, they've been a very fast starting team this year. JT Barrett couldn't find anywhere to throw it. Now he takes off running and weaves his way very close to a first down. Just shy of the 32-yard line, tracked down by Tavon Coney, the freshman, in for the injured Jalen Smith.
What's a nice job of Notre Dame showing blitz, pulling out into a zone, confusing JT Barrett, but when he's confused, he trusts his instincts, gets awful close to the first down, and we see another Irish player on the ground. And that's Coney,
who's in for Smith. They are just running out of healthy bodies on both sides of the ball, but particularly on the defense. Freshman from Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, did enroll early and arrived in time for spring practice.
Right here, good job of Tavon getting down to Shifty Barrett, or slowing him up, getting that foot.
Hard to tell how he hurt himself watching those replays, but help to the bench. Brian Van Gorder might be calling up here, Chris, to see if you have any eligibility left.
Hey, you just got the next guy up. That's been their mentality all year.
4th down and 1. The Buckeyes lining up as if they might go for it, and they will. And Barrett. Well, Notre Dame on the short end of the Bush push, and that time it was the Zeke push. There's Elliott shoved JT Barrett across the line of scrimmage for the first down.
Notre Dame's front, Sean, is light in the pants, and initially they do a good job of getting lower than the offensive line.
Doug Rhodes, that legal? Is the running back allowed to help shove the quarterback like that across?
Yeah, it
the
is.
line
You can't reach out and pull him, but it was a rule before, but they've kind of eliminated that now. It's from behind.
Barrett, after faking the handoff, charges across the 38-yard line. Jaron Jones in on the stop. Notre Dame crowded the line of scrimmage. Never really did get that close to Barrett, who threw a sinker too low for Dontre Wilson. First incomplete pass thrown by JT Barrett.
What they're forcing Notre Dame to do now is get up and challenge a little bit and play some man-to-man coverage. Now then you have to counter on the offensive side is what type of man-beating pass routes do we have in play?
Cole Luke lined up across from Jalen Marshall. Barrett 7 out of 8 passing now for 82 yards and a touchdown. Here comes a Notre Dame blitz right up the middle, and they forced a quick throw. Jarrett Grace, a backup linebacker, came on a blitz, a graduate student who's battled a bunch of injuries throughout his career.
Again, now Brian's coming up with some zone blitzes right now, forcing JT to look for his outlet was Ezekiel Elliott, but Ezekiel was covered by Trombetti, a defensive end, dropping back.
I think Trombetti got away with one there. He was grabbing on his jersey before the ball got there.
Aaron Johnston in the punt, the native Australian. Not a very good kick. Shank to the right. They'll mark it at the 30-yard line. 32-yard punt. Notre Dame and Ohio State in the Battle Frog Fiesta Bowl from Arizona. Welcome you back to this New Year's 6 bowl game, the Battle Frog Fiesta Bowl, and a look at our Taco Bell student section. Be on the lookout for the student section. Taco Bell in the college football playoffs provided 1,000 student tickets free of charge for the national championship game, which will be played right here in Arizona on January 11th on ESPN. Alabama and Clemson. Congratulations to those two terrific teams, the top two in the rankings. Deshaun Kaiser going deep on first down and incomplete, intended for Chris Brown, broken up by Eli Apple.
Well, here's the thing, Sean. I hear this every game. Well, the defender didn't look back for the ball. Well, there's a reason. It's not pass interference if you don't look back for the ball. When the defender faces the receiver and he goes up and plays his hands, then you go through the body. That is a technique that's being taught. So just so people know out there, you don't have to look back for the ball. It's a myth. I'm tired of hearing it.
Apparently so.
Well, they got to know. You got to know. Don't look back for the ball. That's what you're taught, man to man.
Well, you're feisty today. You shouldn't have stayed at that New Year's Eve party so late last night. But you were up to about 7 o'clock, I believe, p.m. Kaiser, an accomplished runner, chopped down by Tyvis Powell. That's a 9-yard gain. He's had 2 rushing games this year, more than 100 yards. Here's Todd McShay.
Sean, that was my fault. I got him worked up last night watching a couple of the games, mentioned it to him again. But Eli Apple has come a long way in the last couple of years. He used to struggle with that technique. But right there, you're seeing it in the Michigan game. I thought he had the best game of his career.
3rd down and short. And if they got it, Kaiser, it wasn't by much.
Low man wins. It's a good surge.
I don't think he got it based on where the ball is. Well, now they're moving it. Moving it back actually a little bit. He didn't get there, and Brian Kelly, you can read his lips go for it. I think he was asking that as a question to his coaches on the headset.
At the very least, you hard count it.
They're going to go for it. Ohio State leading 14-0. 12 minutes to go in the first half, and a big play, 4th and 1. Timeout call by the Irish just before the snap.
And they would have had the first down because they had him outflanked and they had a short corner for Deshaun Kaiser. 490 yards rushing. He can do it.
The 2016 Battle Frog Fiesta Bowl, brought to you by AT&T, mobilizing your world. Cadillac, Northwestern Mutual, we hope you live life differently. And Gatorade, fueling today, fueling the future.
I imagine Gatorade might be getting a little use around the country today. Some people trying to rehydrate after bringing in the new year. We wish you and yours a happy new year. May it be a year filled with happiness and good health for all of you. Notre Dame going for it on 4th down, less than a yard. Early in the second quarter, down 14-0. Ohio State crowds the middle. Kaiser under center at 6'4½". He gets a shove in the back from Josh Adams. And those officials from both sides running right along that yellow line. We'll see where they put the ball down.
Well, Ohio State knew that was coming. Did you notice how everybody shifted in for the quarterback sneak before Kaiser came to the line of scrimmage? It's a good job by Luke Fickell, Chris Ash, future coach at Rutgers. There's Luke. Scouting reports. Kaiser with the second effort and a surge by the Irish offensive line. And there you said it, Sean.
Yep.
The Adams push.
The Adams push. We've had the Elliott push. And as Doug Rhodes told us, it's all legal. Durham Smythe, the tight end, went in motion. Kaiser, the play fake, looking back for Adams. There's a flag down. Adams came out on a wheel route. There's a flag down at the end of the pass play with the linebacker Joshua Perry playing at his final game in coverage for Ohio State. That might not have been a flag down to the line of scrimmage. That might have been a shoe off.
Yeah.
But there is one
Pass
downfield.
interference. Defense, number 37. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
I think what you're going to see is Joshua Perry, who's an excellent linebacker in his own right. He's 254 pounds running with Josh Adams. See that left hand? He's grabbing the jersey, holding on. Joshua does not need to do that. He's in good position, and that's where you as a defender have to tell yourself to trust your training. You're there in position. Don't panic. What
a terrific career he's had at Ohio State. What a wonderful young man. in the classroom, in the community. He is truly one of those student athletes who's done everything right. Dexter Williams, just his 20th carry of the year. He got bumped around after a gain of 1. Here's Cassidy Hubbard with an update back in the studio.
Thanks, Sean and Chris. Michigan and Florida on ABC. Watch the great acting job here by Treon Harris. Allows him to get wide open, and Antonio Callaway with the underhand pass to Harris. Tied up at 7. Again, this game on ABC. Back to you guys.
2 first-year coaches done a wonderful job there, and Jim Harbaugh and Jim McElwain. Quick pass, Will Fuller. Just his 2nd catch of the game. And like the first, it goes for 5 yards. Darren Lee made the tackle. 3rd down and 5 for Notre Dame.
On 14, you know, that was a big play for Will Fuller to get him the ball in space. In 15, he's become more of a deep threat, which makes him more valuable in the draft. And just impressed, though, with Darren Lee's ability to close. And Notre Dame's not able to create any yak yards after catch because of the speed of the OSU defenders.
4 touchdown catches the last 2 seasons than anybody in the country for Fuller, but slowed today by that injured ankle. There's Tory Hunter for a 1st down inside the 30. The son of the just retired Major League Baseball player Tory Hunter Sr.
Well, nice read too by Deshaun Kaiser, trusting his arm, and Tory Hunter sitting it down in that soft spot of the zone. Now Deshaun's starting to get into a little bit of a rhythm. He's a very confident guy, and I say that not cocky at all, just confident in his ability to lead this team and this offense.
That's a backward pass. It'll be a double pass. Tory Hunter a little bit too long, or it would have been a touchdown. Alizé Jones, the tight end, the intended receiver.
Future bright star Alizé Jones, and you can tell right away because of the backwards pass, and there was no attempt for Tory Hunter, who does a good job of setting his feet. And the only thing he could have done is maybe put a little more air under it to allow Alizé Jones to run under it. Good call.
Like his dad, Tory has good hands. Tory Hunter the elder, 9-time Gold Glove winner, 5 times an All-Star. 2nd and 10. Kaiser on target. Amir Carlisle ducked his head. Got the 1st down with about 1.5 yards to spare. Raekwon McMillan the stop for the Buckeyes.
You love the fact that Notre Dame's going no huddle, a little bit of tempo here because they have rhythm. Keep it going.
Kaiser. Good catch by Durham Smythe. Not sure it was intended for him, but he made a lunging catch for a gain of about 5.
We're starting to see this defensive front for Ohio State. 1st time all game. A little bit winded, obviously, without Adolphus Washington, a defensive tackle, with Bosa ejected. They don't have the bodies to rotate as much.
Tracy Sprinkle, 93 in there now. He's played very little during the year. Kaiser the keeper. Kaiser down a yard shy of the markers. Darren Lee another stop for the Buckeyes.
Well, the other thing too is Notre Dame's doing a good job in their passing game of getting rid of the football. So what do you do to counter as a defensive line? Maybe come off your pass rush, understanding they're coming at you quick. Get those arms and hands up in those passing lanes to possibly get a deflection.
This is the part of the field in which Notre Dame has struggled. They've not been a good red zone team. Brian Kelly calls this the white zone from the 12-yard in, where in particular they've struggled. They've spent a lot of time on this in the ball practice. Out in the flat, caught. Chris Brown, a nice catch. Von Bell the tackle. 1st and goal, Notre Dame.
Composure allows Deshaun Kaiser not to force the football and make a nice throw on the run to Chris Brown, who does a good job of adjusting midair with those hips. Von Bell closing. Just great football players all over the field today.
Brian Kelly and Deshaun Kaiser both agreed Kaiser needs to make quicker decisions, better decisions in the red zone if they're going to improve down here. He decided to hand it off. Good decision. Josh Adams has Notre Dame on the board.
Tremendous job of offensive line opening up the hole for Josh Adams, who's getting low and skinny to that ground and surging across the goal line. But what a great effort by that offensive line to create that little seam for Adams to burst through.
Justin Yoon, the freshman who's had a terrific year as the kicker, adds the extra point. They had a freshman punter in Newsom and kicker in Yoon. That was a big concern for Brian Kelly starting the year, but both have played very well. 70-yard drive capped by a 3-yard run by the freshman Adams. Aerial coverage of today's game provided by Goodyear. Whether you're going for it from a few yards out or from miles away, go with a tire with superior performance. Goodyear, more driven.
What do you think, Sean? Usually when Ohio State gets it going a little bit, they come back to Ezekiel Elliott. That's their comfort level.
Yep, that was the plan coming in, pound the run. You'd think they would do that. Impressive drive by Notre Dame. When Joey Bosa was in the game, they were obsessed with trying to block him, understandably so. It was a much more comfortable looking offense since he was ejected for targeting. Tyler Newsom kicks off. Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel. Nice return, started in the end zone, ends at the 38-yard line, and it took the kicker, Tyler Newsom, to bring him down. Let's go inside that last touchdown drive for Notre Dame as DirecTV takes you inside the drive.
A big push by Josh Adams, able to keep the chains moving. Chris Brown, key catch. Offensive line, just give him a little bit of a hole, and Josh Adams, a true freshman, knows how to find the end zone.
We've learned that today. You can push, but
Yeah.
you can't grasp, pull, or lift your teammate. Doug Rhodes in the booth with us today. JT Barrett runs for 7 yards on first down. We also have Steve Shaw in the booth, longtime great on-field referee, now supervising the SEC officials. And Steve was the referee the last time these two teams played in the Fiesta Bowl.
I booed them when they both came in, made them feel welcome.
As you are trained to do. It's just a habit you've had your entire life. Jalen Marshall couldn't make the catch. And here's a 3rd down and 3. And can Brian Van Gorder's injury-plagued defense come up with a big play here? The offense kept them off the field for a while.
He's been going zone pressures on 3rd and short, showing man and dropping zone. So let's see if JT Barrett can recognize where that pressure comes. You either have to play tight man-to-man coverage, or you have to show man and play type of zone and now jump zone to stop those short little passes.
On 3rd and 3, Barrett off short, and a nifty move by Braxton Miller to get the first down. He spun out to the 49-yard line. Elijah Shoemate made the tackle. Jared Grace trying to run him down as well.
Well, it's a pre-snap read by JT Barrett. He sees Grace, who does actually a pretty good job of covering. But when you have a linebacker on the likes of Braxton Miller, that's your first and possibly your only option to get that favorable matchup.
Miller playing the last game of his great career at Ohio State. Barrett's throw too high for Michael Thomas. Miller, of course, formerly the quarterback, twice the MVP on offense in the Big Ten as a quarterback. But he got hurt. That opened the door for JT Barrett last year. Barrett was terrific. He had to hand it off to Cardale Jones in the postseason after Barrett got hurt in the Michigan game last season. So when Miller came back, he came back as a hybrid, mostly a wide receiver, unselfishly, and he's been effective in that role. 2nd and 10. Barrett out of bounds, and it's interesting, Chris, because Notre Dame is going to face the same situation that Urban Meyer had to deal with this year. Next season, Kaiser's been outstanding. He stepped in for Malik Zaire in the 2nd game of the year. Zaire was brilliant in their opener against Texas. We asked Brian Kelly about that yesterday. What are you going to do next year? He said, I'm going to find a way to get both of them in the game.
Yeah, and you need to learn from history. I can't name a combination in college football where two quarterbacks have been successful. I'm not talking about when Tebow was a goal line short yardage specialist. I'm talking about two quarterbacks playing the position. Choose one and go with him.
Malik Zaire is here on the sideline. He passed for more than 300 yards in that opener against Texas, then was injured in week 2 at Virginia. Kaiser took over. Timeout. Ohio. Welcome back to ESPN's presentation of the 2016 Battle Frog Fiesta Bowl. Ohio State, number 7 in the country, leading 8th-ranked Notre Dame 14-7. 6:05 to go in the second quarter. It's Ohio State ball, 3rd down and 6 at the Irish 47. J.T. Barrett followed Ezekiel Elliott, who's a great blocker, and he got the first down with a yard to spare. Romeo Okwara in on the stop for Notre Dame.
Ezekiel always wants to contribute. So if he only has 4 carries, this is another way. What he can do is spring that block, swivel his hips, and you see the power of J.T. Barrett.
And that was 4-down territory for Ohio State anyway. They weren't going to punt. They weren't going to kick a field goal, so they figured they could run and then decide to do what to do on 4th down.
The fake to Elliott, and the pass batted down. Sheldon Day, senior from Indianapolis, 2 times a team captain, coming to the end of an outstanding career at Notre Dame.
Yeah, just doing a good job of not falling for the fake, and if you're not going to get there, the understanding of being a veteran and getting your hands up in the passing lane. Excellent by Sheldon Day.
Well, Chris, you said get back to pounding Ezekiel Elliott. He questioned the play calling after the loss to Michigan State when he got the ball just 12 times. He's carried only 4 times today. Do you think that's enough?
No, absolutely not. And I think they came in with the mindset of throwing the football, but eventually when things get a little tight, they go to 15.
They go to him here with all kinds of running room, untouched into the secondary. And a first down at the 24-yard line. The safety, Matthias Farley, made the stop, and they want to keep feeding Elliott. At least Zeke wants it.
Yeah, and it's a good job of Jacoby Bourne, number 50, sealing that hole, and Elfline, the guard, 65, getting to the second level, springing Elliott.
Elfline got out there. There was so much empty space, he had no one to block. Barrett thought about a late pitch, kept it. Wrestled down by Elijah Schmidt, just shy of the 15-yard line. And the tempo very quick now for the Buckeyes.
This is where they're at their best. When they run the option, they hand it off the first time, then they fake it the next time. They get the linebackers guessing and keep the tempo going.
Notre Dame crowded the line. Elliott bouncing off tacklers, lunging for the end zone. The ball came out. He's marked down shy of the goal line.
Well, when you get an offensive line that requests to go tempo because of the surge, and here they go again, lined up quick.
And Elliott scores. Flag down at the line of scrimmage. The touchdown will stand. They were offside on the defense.
There, 15, Sean, we talked about it, right? Get him the football to get yourself in rhythm and momentum and let him go and wear down the opponent.
Sean Nurnberger, sophomore kicker, on for the extra point. He's from an athletic family. His dad, Kai Nurnberger, was a basketball star guard at Southern Illinois and played in the '92 Olympics for Germany. The team that lost to the Dream Team. Ezekiel Elliott, one of the great running backs in the country, playing in his final game for the Buckeyes, his second TD today. Great day of bowl games on ESPN. Coming up next, 5 Eastern time, the granddaddy of them all, the Rose Bowl game presented by Northwestern Mutual. Stanford in the game for the 3rd time in 4 years, taking on Iowa. Terrific season for the Hawkeyes. Just one loss at Oklahoma State and Ole Miss. And the All-State Sugar Bowl. Both games are on ESPN, also streaming live on the ESPN app.
If you haven't had a chance to watch Christian McCaffrey play, please watch him.
Heisman Trophy finalist for Stanford. Another kickoff out of bounds, second of the day for Jack Willoughby. Here's Cassidy Hubbard.
Buffalo Wild Wings Citrus Bowl, Michigan and Florida. Jake Rudock to J.U. Chesson, and he absolutely loses his defender for the wide open 31-yard touchdown. Michigan up 14-7 and driving this game over on ABC. Sean, Chris, back to you.
Jake Rudock getting better every week, could be a possible draft choice.
We talked to Urban Meyer, his coordinators, a couple of the players, and it's amazing how disciplined they all are. The word Michigan was never uttered. They all mentioned that team up north, but never said Michigan, even after they played the rivalry game.
Well, Michigan had a great year this year, and Jim Harbaugh, great hire by Don Brown, the defensive coordinator from Boston College.
Josh Adams got nothing on first down, tackled by Joshua Perry. Another of the deep backups who has to play today. Michael Hill, number 77, ordinarily third team at defensive tackle. But they're depleted, and even more so with the ejection of Joey Bosa. If you just joined us, that was the key moment in the game in the first quarter. Bosa ejected for targeting. With his team ahead 14-0. It also wiped out an interception by Tyvis Powell. Kaiser just throws it down the field. Hunter had stopped at the 30-yard line. The ball landed way past him. For those just waking up on this New Year's Day, here's the targeting penalty. Ohio State was dominating, leading 14-0, and about to get the ball back with great field position. But Bosa used the crown of his helmet. That's a player safety issue really on both sides.
There's no foul for intentional grounding. The receiver stopped in the middle of his pattern. Second down.
I was thinking about that, Sean, and I'm glad you made that point, because I've seen guys get hurt bad when they lower that head. Eyes up, head up, wrap up. If you keep those rules, you can protect yourself the best you can in a violent collision game like football. And Joey just lowered the head, and it was a proper call.
3rd and 10 for Deshaun Kaiser and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. 4-man rush. And the throw too long. Chris Brown looked like he was going to have some separation with Garyon Conley, but the throw was not accurate.
Yeah, normally Deshaun will put a little air under it and drop it in the bucket. He threw this one on a little bit of a line and overthrew. And one of his best attributes as a quarterback is that nice touch deep ball.
Tyler Newsome to punt again. His 4th punt of the day, and another good one. Jalen Marshall, the over-the-shoulder catch at the 10. This is the outkick the coverage situation here. And they're finally able to catch up with Marshall and gang tackle him at the 37-yard line. Jarrett Grace leading the charge for Notre Dame. 57-yard punt, 29-yard return.
Well, when you want to get back to who you are, get the rhythm back, get the momentum back, give it to Ezekiel Elliott. He's strong, he's inside. Everything for Ohio State is set off the running game. And what better guy to run the football for your football team than number 15, Zeke Elliott.
Number 2 all-time rusher at Ohio State in his career. And this season, more than 1,700 yards, 4th highest single season total in school history. Just recently moved past Eddie George for number 2 all-time. He has a chance to be Ohio State's all-time leading rusher. Curtis Samuel made the catch on the first down. If Ezekiel gets 1,777 yards today, he'll tie Archie Griffin.
He'll try. He's a great effort player. He's going to be an outstanding pro. And the other thing too, Sean, good hands out of the backfield, and already his blocking display has been outstanding, especially run blocking, but he's also a solid pass protector from that RB position.
Junior, but he's already said it'll be his final game. Elliott carries to the Notre Dame 48. Isaac Rochelle and Joe Schmidt in on the tackle for Notre Dame. Elliott, Joey Bosa, Cardale Jones, the now backup quarterback, have all told Urban Meyer they're leaving, even though they have eligibility left. And Urban's waiting here from 4 or 5 more juniors who might depart early for the NFL draft. Swing pass for Elliott. First down, down the sideline, still in bounds, and belted out of bounds by Matthias Farley. First down, Ohio State at the 18-yard line.
Again, it's just a mismatch when you try to put a linebacker on Ezekiel Elliott. And, you know, one of the things I love, this is his last game, but there's no thought process of going out of bounds. He's going to get every single yard that he can get all the time, Todd.
This is the area I think he's improved the most too, especially with the wrist injury he had a year ago. They really couldn't work him the ball in the passing game, but he's shown everyone this year he's a very reliable receiver.
26 catches entering today. They go into the bag of tricks. Versatile all-around player Jalen Marshall, a high school quarterback, and an accomplished runner. 15 yards and a first down. Good call by Ed Warner, the offensive coordinator.
Well, when you have so many weapons, I mean, you can just draw them up in the dirt and it'll probably work. And also Nick Van Nett, another NFL prospect, maybe the top tight end. You see him out there blocking in space, but he does have excellent hands.
First and goal. Barrett kept it. The Buckeye fans chanting Zeke. They thought Elliott would get the call. Joe Schmidt and Elijah Shoemate combined to take down Barrett. Second and goal, under 2 minutes to go in the half. There's Ed Warner with Tim Beck on the left, co-coordinators. And Elliott has his 3rd touchdown of the game.
Notre Dame's not even lined up. I mean, they're tired and fatigued. McGuire, number 45, is trying to get from one side of the line of scrimmage to the other. They're not even in their 3-point stance. There's no pad level. There's no surge. And the offensive line for Ohio State is ready to go on the snap. And Zeke again finding the end zone.
Again, for those who joined us late, Jalen Smith, the best linebacker in the country, suffered a leg injury early in the game. He has not returned, and that has really hurt an already injury-ravaged Notre Dame defense. Sean Nurnberger, the extra point. Well, Todd, Ezekiel Elliott's made it clear he's heading into the draft. How do you size him up as a prospect on the next level?
Sean, he should be the first running back taken, whether that's late first, early second. I think it'll be somewhere in that mid to late first round range. You just look at him, there's no major weakness to his game. The competitiveness, and I include fumbling in competitiveness, he's got an A. I mean, you see the way he finishes. He had a .6 fumble percentage a year ago, 301 offensive touches, and just 2 fumbles with 1 loss. The vision and patience is good. Agility, acceleration for his size, I think, is very good. Same with balance and power. And we talked about the passing game. Improved as a pass blocker and much improved as a route runner and a pass catcher. They're really, as I said, not a specific hole that you can point to when you're watching Ezekiel Elliott and say that he's got to make major improvements in that area of the game.
Well, I like his vision and patience. And in one area he has improved. I thought last year that sometimes he would get tripped up, a lot of arm tackles. I think this year, as the year's gone on, he's shown me the ability to make somebody miss in a hole. And that's what you need to separate yourself in the NFL.
Jack Willoughby's kickoff stays inbounds this time. It is down by C.J. Sanders. So Deshaun Kaiser and the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame with just 2 losses in both in the final seconds by 2 points. Not used to being down by 21.
You almost get the feeling that Ohio State's trying to make a statement here after what happened yesterday and maybe wanting to prove that they're at least a top 4 team in the country. Right now they're playing like it, focused.
Ohio State's had 5 possessions. They've scored 4 touchdowns. Notre Dame ball. Former Irish assistant Urban Meyer with a 21-point lead. Of course, it was widely reported that Urban Meyer could have had the Notre Dame job if he had wanted it when they hired Brian Kelly. It seems the situations have worked out very well for both men, both schools. Will Fuller out to the 40-yard line, a first down coming up at the half. Reese Kirk Desmond in the Buick halftime report. Scores and highlights and latest breaking news from around college football. We'll get you ready for the Rose Bowl game presented by Northwestern Mutual in the All-State Sugar Bowl. Kaiser, sinker, short of Chris Brown.
And that's the one area where Deshaun has to get a little bit more consistent, and he'll tell you is that footwork. His feet were all screwed up. They were parallel and not pointed to the target. That's why he threw the ball in the dirt.
Take the handoff to Adams. Kaiser ahead for 4. We've seen very little of C.J. Procise. Brian Kelly thought he was at 80% when we visited yesterday. Played early, but dropped the pass. Didn't make an impact, and we've seen nothing of him lately.
Ohio State's playing a little bit of soft zone, want to keep everything in front of them.
And the Buckeyes call a timeout just prior to the snap. Each team with 1 timeout remaining, with 1:15 to go in the first half. Well, the stage has been set. Those impressive performances by Alabama and Clemson yesterday in the college football playoff semifinals. They'll meet in this building a week from Monday. That's January 11th at 8:30 Eastern Time. The college football playoff national championship presented by AT&T. Derrick Henry of Alabama won the Heisman. Probably just as easily could have been Deshaun Watson. We talked before the game. I mean, just as easily could have been Christian McCaffrey. Yeah. They were all Heisman Trophy deserving types. But as we look at Alabama and Clemson, what do you think about that matchup?
Well, I like Clemson. I mean, Alabama is who they are. They're always going to be good. They're always going to be physical. If they can protect Deshaun Watson, Alabama set a record for sacks this year under Nick Saban, then Clemson has a chance because they have to be balanced in order to slow down that Alabama defense.
We've said a couple of times, Clemson, in my opinion, I think you agree, was the best team we saw in person this year. A lot of people think Alabama is the best team. We did not see them in person. I would still stand by what I said about Clemson. I think they're terrific everywhere.
Yeah, at all 3 levels on defense. The offensive line was dominant yesterday in their big win. So it's going to be a great game and a great matchup.
I think they are the 2 best teams in the country. We'll see which one emerges as the national champion. There's a quick pop to Corey Robinson. And he is spun down at the 44-yard line. They'll give him forward progress close to the 42. 1 timeout left. Clock stops to move the chains. 1:08 to go in the half. Kaiser. Robinson again. Big target. At 6'4½", the son of the Admiral David Robinson, the Hall of Fame basketball player. 10 times an All-Star with the San Antonio Spurs.
Like the Admiral, he did a good job of boxing out Garyon Conley.
Kaiser doing a good job of getting him up quickly. Fires again for Robinson. 3 catches in a row. There at the 15-yard line, Garyon Conley made the tackle.
Well, right here, he's just so big, he works inside. And again, that big body makes it hard for Conley to get around and knock it away.
Gains of 14, 12, and 15. Kaiser now going to the end zone for Fuller, and it's over his head and out of bounds. Eli Apple had the coverage.
Well, that's why Eli Apple, whether he decides to come out this year or next year, will be in Todd McShay's top 32. He's long, and NFL guys love long corners. See that wingspan on long arms, and he's physical at the point on press coverage.
Very highly recruited player out of Voorhees, New Jersey, Eli Apple. Number 11 player in the country in high school, according to our ESPN colleagues. 2nd and 10. Plenty of time now left for Notre Dame in the half. Kaiser, pump fake, got away from Joshua Perry. First down, out of bounds. Lunge for the pylon, and got it apparently. Touchdown. And the officials conferring. Look from here that he went out of bounds shy of it, extended the ball above the pylon. And here's Hubert Owens, the referee.
Ruling on the field is a touchdown.
And that'll be reviewed by John Bible.
Just a great individual effort by Deshaun Kaiser, showing speed and quickness at a big man at 240 pounds.
The previous play is under further review.
Yeah, that's not a touchdown. I wonder if the field judge got confused because the pylon got knocked down, but it wasn't by Kaiser. The ball never got there.
Von Bell coming in to finish it off, but a great individual effort by Kaiser. Just short, about a half-yard.
Yeah, they'll overturn this ruling of a touchdown, most certainly. Von Bell needs to be careful there too, you would think. Coming in there, Doug Rhodes, anything about this contact by number 11 on the defense that would get your attention?
Yeah, he lowers his head also, but I don't think the contact is with the crown. He lowers the head, but it's more the side of the helmet. I think you'll see in this view. Well, no, I take it back. That view right down the line, you see a lot better. He lowers his head.
It's close, but it's tough for the official to make that call, right, Doug? Because he's looking to try to spot the ball or mark the ball. So I don't know if he's really on that contact. And it looked like maybe the face mask or the crown. It could have gone either way.
Correct. He's got three things going on. Does he step out of bounds? Does he break the plane of the goal line? And then, oh, yeah, the third part of it, where's the contact?
But if they didn't call targeting on the field, the booth cannot make that call.
That is correct. That is correct.
And Steve Shaw, your colleague, didn't think it was targeting.
Now, I can't see enough there to say it was.
After review, the ruling is that the ball carrier was out at the half-yard line. The football never broke the plane of the goal line. It'll be first and goal.
Well done. Great name for a replay official, John Bible. The Bible has the final word, the authoritative word in this situation.
And the proper call. Now, last time on this goal line situation, Josh Adams got the call. Deshaun Kaiser, of course, is a powerful runner, so he's certainly capable of taking it in.
Again, red zone problems throughout the year for Notre Dame. Can they punch it in from the one? They do have a timeout. Kaiser follows Adams. Touchdown, Notre Dame. Terrific drive. It's only the first half, Chris, but that's one they really had to have when it looked like the game was getting away from them at 28-7 late in the half. They went 75 yards in just 9 plays and took only a minute and 19 to do it. 10th rushing touchdown of the season for Kaiser. He had been tied for the single season record with Tony Rice and Rick Meyer. Stays on as the holder for Justin Yoon out of Milton Academy in Massachusetts. 5 plays on that drive of 12 yards or more for the Irish offense.
Well, this is what they ran in that failed two-point play against Clemson, the kind of quarterback sweep. This time the Notre Dame offensive guys do a good job of sealing the corner, letting him make a move one-on-one into the hole. Now watch the Notre Dame guys. See Ronnie Stanley get out there. They seal that corner. He's one-on-one. Raekwon McMillan overruns it. Kaiser with a patient run for the Fighting Irish. Lots of fight in the Fighting Irish today. They'll never go away. They'll fight till the end.
Kaiser's out of Central Catholic in Toledo. His high school was the Fighting Irish. He was recruited by Ohio State. He said initially he didn't think he was very high on their list. He said he believes the Buckeyes tend to work down the recruiting list, and they were looking at guys like Deshaun Watson and Kyle Allen. And when those players decided to go elsewhere, he got more interest from Ohio State. But by then, he had settled on Notre Dame. He was also very interested in LSU and Alabama.
He's a good athlete. His dad was a basketball player at Bowling Green State University. Really became a football fan, Sean, this past year because he understood it. He had to understand the whole game to become the best quarterback he could be. Put a lot of time and effort into that.
And I was never a lover of football, but I have learned to love it, particularly the chess game part of it. There's Samuel spinning around. A lot of effort to get to the 19-yard line. John Turner leading the coverage for Notre Dame. The Irish started the season 4-0. The impressive opening win over Texas when Malik Zaire was great. Then he got injured against Virginia. And Kaiser came in through a last-second touchdown pass to beat UVA. They had the heartbreaking loss in Hurricane Joaquin at Clemson. Won 6 in a row, got up into position to be in the playoffs. Number 4 as they went to Stanford, but then lost on a 45-yard field goal by Conrad Ucrapina of Stanford as time expired. oh so close to an undefeated regular season and a trip to the playoff. They're here at the Battle Frog Fiesta Bowl, and they head to the locker room trailing Ohio State 28-14. The Buckeyes will receive the second half kickoff. Here's Todd with Coach Kelly.
Coach, Deshaun Kaiser runs the 2-minute drill very effectively. How big was that score for you guys?
That was huge. You know, we're really struggling defensively. We're trying to mix and match some personnel. And
Welcome back to ESPN's presentation of the 2016 Battle Frog Fiesta Bowl from University of Phoenix Stadium in Glendale, Arizona, just west of downtown Phoenix. Ohio State leading Notre Dame 28-14 at the half. Those just joining us, the big development. Both teams lost their best defensive player in the first half. Joey Bosa of Ohio State ejected for targeting. Jalen Schmidt, the great linebacker for the Irish, suffered a leg injury. And without Jalen Smith, even when he was in there, they were struggling on defense. 280 yards of offense for Ohio State. So how do they deal with that?
Well, what you have to do, Sean, is you got to start taking chances on Notre Dame's defense. That means playing your safeties about 7 to 8 yards off the line of scrimmage and stop the inside run. That's where Ohio State will dominate and take over if Notre Dame doesn't make the necessary adjustments on the defensive side of the ball.
Tyler Newsome kicks off. Some confusion on the back end between Curtis Samuel and Jalen Marshall. It's a touchback. Here's the Capital One pivotal performance.
But so far, Sean, it's been Ezekiel Elliott, the Ohio State running back. Only 9 carries, 55 yards, but the 3 touchdowns and all the other intangible things that don't happen when he's carrying the ball. You saw the push there on a key 4th down to extend. Then the blocking that he consistently does in both the run and pass games. Speaking of the passing game, catching the ball 30 yards here, working down the sideline. He just does so many things when he does not have the football that don't show up in the stat line that are so important for the Buckeyes.
You know, Todd, one of the things, this is like his all-star game, so he has to show out today because this is going to be his last game to impress the scouts.
And there are a lot of NFL people here. Elliott weaves for 3 on the first play from scrimmage of the second half. 6th leading rusher in the nation this year. Ezekiel Elliott averaged 139 yards per game, 152 per game in Big Ten conference games that led the Big Ten. JT Barrett throws short, juggled and dangerously so in traffic by Jalen Marshall. He was able to snare it for a short gain. It'll be 3rd down and 5. Joe Schmidt, the leader of that defense, graduate student playing in his last game for the Irish, former walk-on who became a team captain.
Very smart, always in position, makes a lot of plays.
He missed 5 games last year with an ankle injury, did Schmidt, and he was still voted the team MVP. That's the high regard in which his teammates hold him. Trying to force a 3 and out. Throw back by Barrett. Nice call, beautifully executed, and Michael Thomas has the first down to the 43-yard line. Cole Luke made the tackle.
There's something to be said about halftime adjustments right here. Rolling JT Barrett out. You get Decker out in space, showing his athletic ability, getting a block on number 45, Okora. Great call.
JT Barrett with a hole, running right. He has another first down. Across the 50 and down inside the 47-yard line. Brian Kelly doesn't like this. They spent a lot of time undoubtedly talking to that defense at halftime. And Ohio State going right through that defense to start the half. Elliott runs over Jarrett Grace and goes to the 40.
That's the problem that Notre Dame has. I mean, they're playing with depleted troops. And so you're playing with willing guys. Jarrett Grace is a willing participant right here. But because of the pad level and power of Elliott, that's the result.
Barrett all day to throw. Throws a deep ball. Single coverage and belted away by Nick Watkins. Making his first career start, he had excellent coverage on Jalen Marshall.
Outstanding. And Nick was a little hesitant at first, but you have press coverage at the top. Not looking back, not looking back, not looking back. Trusting his training and going up and playing the hands. That's an outstanding effort and technique by Nick Watkins.
Buckeye fans thought the contact was early. No flag. Watkins, a sophomore. Brian Kelly said, I think he's going to be a terrific player and I like him a lot. I just wish he didn't have to play right now, but he's in there because of injuries and suspension. He certainly hasn't embarrassed himself. Barrett after another fake to Elliott. First down to the 35-yard line. Romeo Okwara made the tackle.
To me this year, I mean, we had him a couple times last year. This year he's become a more patient runner and a little bit more powerful as you see Tim Beck on your left, Ed Warner on your right, the offensive coordinator working in tandem.
And you saw a good example of what you mentioned in the first half, Chris. Ed Warner getting the play call in very quickly. He said when you're upstairs, you see where the ball is placed. You get a quick look at personnel. It's easier to make the call more quickly. He's also the offensive line coach, and most of the time they like to be on the field. Elliott carries for 5 more, but this is a veteran offensive line. All 5 have started every game this year, so Ed thought that wasn't as important as getting up in that booth and getting the calls in quickly.
Well, every offensive coordinator, I think, should be in the booth.
Elliott, that line gave him a lot of time, but it's a deflected pass, and it's intercepted by Joe Schmidt. And he brings it back to the 42-yard line.
Well, when you haven't played since preseason, Jerron Jones, number 94, is going to come in and create havoc on JT Barrett with a nice swim move, not quitting, running through the block of Ezekiel Elliott and just giving tremendous effort to deflect the pass. And your captain, Joe Schmidt, making a big play. Look at the effort though, beating 2 blockers and getting high in the sky to get a blocked shot.
First interception of the year for Joe Schmidt, to the chagrin of Urban Meyer. Jerron Jones hadn't played all season long until today as a result of his preseason knee injury. Brian Van Gorder told us yesterday he's never been particularly strong in the lower body, but he has great upper body strength, and you'll see an example of that in the game, and there it was. He powered through a couple of blockers. Josh Adams to the 49-yard line. That was just the 14th takeaway for the Notre Dame defense all season long. Only 12 teams in the country had fewer takeaways in the regular season than Notre Dame. Trying to capitalize now, 2nd and 3. Raekwon McMillan, the linebacker, trying to blitz. Kaiser with time, caught. Chris Brown inside the 35 and wrestled out of bounds by Eli Apple.
Shad, you said it. When you have a pass route that takes this long to develop, you need to have protection. He gets it. He's able to step up into the pocket, allowing Chris Brown to clear Darren Lee, the linebacker.
I don't even think they would call that play if Joey Bosa was still in the game.
You're right, Todd. I mean, because without Bosa, there's not an immediate threat. There's no intimidation factor from Kaiser or that offensive line.
Nobody on the offensive line looked comfortable, or Kaiser, early in the game when Bosa was causing problems. Josh Adams, the hard-earned yard, driven back by the sophomore linebacker. Butkus Awards semifinalist Raekwon McMillan. For those tuning in, Ohio State led 14-0 and just intercepted a pass when Joey Bosa was ejected for targeting, wiping out the interception. Jalen Smith, the Butkus Award linebacker for Notre Dame, injured a leg in the first quarter. He has not returned. But is almost certain to be the last game for both juniors. They flip it to Amir Carline. He picks up blocks on the perimeter and is tackled by Tyvis Powell with Eli Apple to save a touchdown.
I've said that Brian Kelly's one of the best play callers in the game, and anytime you have a fast pursuing defense, you can go misdirection to Meyer Carlisle, an explosive athlete for the Irish. You have a chance for a big player. He understands the game, he understands weaknesses, and he's patient in his play calling, Sean.
20-yard gain for the former running back Carlisle. Trying to make it a one-score game. Again in the white zone, as Brian Kelly calls it, where they've struggled. Incomplete pass, too long for Meyer Carlisle. Brian Kelly said they're trying to scheme to get more quick plays, more quick decisions for Kaiser, maybe more two tight end sets down in this part of the field, try to create some one-on-one matchup.
He had the one-on-one matchup he liked right there, and Kaiser, they do a drill in practice where they throw the ball in that back corner in the trash cans, and he just missed. He overthrew it. He didn't hit the trash cans.
Saw number 10, Alizé Jones. They said in particular they'd like to get him more involved, and it's a shovel pass to him. Well, they got driven back after he reached the 3-yard line.
Yeah, that's a little bit of Urban Meyer right there, and Alizé Jones, an outstanding talent at that tight end position, using him a little bit as a running back in that scenario. So 3rd down, you're short. Ohio State will have to play man-to-man, and they're probably about 95% blitz in this situation, forcing Kaiser to make a quick decision, which he struggles with.
Huge play here. Big difference between a touchdown and a field goal try. Josh Adams, the running back.
Got Fuller up top with Apple. Great individual matchup at the top.
And it's the fade, and it's caught by Chris Brown. Touchdown Notre Dame as he got away from Garyon Conley.
We dropped this one in the bucket. This is a nice read between the receiver and the quarterback. The receiver is beyond the defensive back. You throw it over his head. If the defensive back is in front of the receiver, you throw the back shoulder fade.
Got a foot down with possession of the ball. It's a touchdown for Brown, the senior from Hanahan, South Carolina. Consummate team guy, in the words of Brian Kelly, the leader of the wide receiver group. And he made a big play for Notre Dame to get them within a score, a 4-yard catch, finishing a 58-yard 7-play drive set up by the rare takeaway by the Notre Dame defense. Brown's 4th touchdown catch of the season. It's 28-21 Ohio State. Aerial coverage of today's game provided by Goodyear. Whether you're going for it from a few yards out or from miles away, go with a tire with superior performance. Goodyear, more driven. University of Phoenix Stadium, the site of this Battle Frog Fiesta Bowl. It's become a battle. Looked like Ohio State might run away at 28-7. Notre Dame, an impressive drive to close out the first half. And now they score after the first turnover of the game by either team. Tyler Newsome's kickoff about 8 yards deep, and Jalen Marshall took a knee. Here's Todd McShay.
Chris Spielman called for it early in the second quarter. And Ezekiel Elliott, get him involved, get him back involved, and find a way to just get in that rhythm. I think it's really what Ohio State needs to continue to do. You've got so many depth problems with Notre Dame because of the injuries, and I think tempo is a huge part of it. So wearing them down and just continue to get the ball to Ezekiel Elliott in that option game.
And Ohio State so far, Todd, has been able to answer every Notre Dame touchdown with a touchdown of its own in response.
Ezekiel Elliott taken down by Matthias Farley, who got the start today with the departure of Max Redfield, who got sent home earlier in the week for a violation of team rules. And Brian Kelly said Farley will do a good job. He's a veteran, 26 career starts. Not as athletically gifted as some, but he's around the ball, and he has been today. Michael Thomas. Yanked down by Nick Watkins, getting his first start as the stand-in for Devin Butler, who was the stand-in for Kavari Russell.
Yeah, a lot of times if you keep hitting those little short hitches, and that was a nice ball by JT Barrett, a lot of times that's a setup for a double move, especially with a young corner and you're attacking a young corner, Nick Watkins. They stayed away all game from number 36, Cole Luke.
10-yard gain for Thomas. His 5th catch of the day. Elliott in trouble behind the line and won't get back to the line of scrimmage. Good penetration that time by the defensive front, led by Daniel Cage and Romeo Okwara. Cage, number 75, a sophomore from Cincinnati. He's been battling an ankle injury, but out there playing today.
A little surprised that Ohio State isn't going up tempo because of the depth problems and the efficiency that they operate when they do go up tempo.
And your quarterback's more comfortable with it.
Well, JT told us during the week he likes it when they play fast. He takes it down, has running room. And gets knocked down by Nick Watkins. Nick Watkins might be about to ask the coaches, why haven't I been playing all season long? We're starting to notice him in a positive way more and more.
Well, you love it when young guys get opportunities and they play well. I mean, this is a dream for him. He's playing in a Fiesta Bowl against a great football team. Has played very well today. Now, if you're Notre Dame, again, what you've been doing is a little bit of zone pressures right here, but you have to jump those underneath routes, whether it's zone or man. You got to play matchup, not make an easy throw for JT Barrett.
3rd down and 5, more than midway through the 3rd quarter. A 7-point lead for the Buckeyes. 4-man rush. Barrett throws, caught by Jalen Marshall. 1st down.
Sean, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You're in zone, which is fine, but understand the sticks and what they're trying to do and what they've been doing all game. You can't play that far off. You have to start playing routes. It's called matchup zone. Maybe that adjustment will be made on the sidelines by BVG, Ryan Van Gorder.
Derek Grace in the area in that zone, playing more than he would have undoubtedly due to the injuries, and playing as hard as he can in his final game. High snap. Elliott found a crease and may find the end zone. Touchdown, Ohio State.
I talked about this player. He doesn't catch a lot of passes. He will in the NFL, but he's an outstanding blocker. He's going to get the spring block. They're going to have 2 pullers. And watch Nick Van Nett come off, seal off the inside. Then when Ezekiel Elliott gets to the secondary, he's a strong sprinter and has the ability to finish runs from a long distance.
Sean Nurnberger for the extra point. Ezekiel Elliott's 4th rushing touchdown of the game, tying Woody Green of Arizona State's record against Missouri in 1972.
The 2016 Battle Frog Fiesta Bowl, brought to you by Allstate, proud supporters of college football. Are you in good hands? AT&T, mobilizing your world. Taco Bell's Crunchwrap Sliders, 4 full-size flavors, just $1 each. And Ford, we go further so you can.
Ohio State leading 35-21. Buckeyes offense taking advantage of the absence of Jalen Schmidt, who someday will likely play in this stadium again as an NFL player, but out for the day today, early in the game with a left leg injury. Notre Dame not releasing any injury information, but he has a brace on that left leg. That's Jack Swarbrick, the athletic director at Notre Dame, alongside him. Jack Willoughby kicks off. C.J. Sanders thought about it. It was only a couple yards deep, but the kickoff coverage has been excellent today for Ohio State, so he didn't bring it out. And here's a look back at the play on which Smith, number 9, got injured.
You know, it's almost a non-contact injury right there. There's nobody really falling on his legs or anything. That's just, it's a tough break, but he's a tough kid. He's mentally strong. Whatever that injury is, and hopefully it's minor, I know that he has a bright future as an NFL linebacker one day. game, Sean, one area where he really got strong was being able to take on blockers, not get engulfed, engage, then disengage.
Brian Van Gorder's coached a long time, 7 years in the NFL, and he said he thinks Schmidt is going to be a great player in the National Football League. Here's Josh Adams. Got through Tyvis Powell to get a few extra yards and pick up the first down.
Clearly one of the halftime adjustments for the offense for Notre Dame was misdirection. They must have been seeing things where Ohio State maybe a little bit over aggressive pursuing to one side, the front side of a play, because that's the second time we've seen a misdirection have success.
It's the single season freshman record now, 802 rushing yards for Josh Adams. The previous mark 786 for Darius Walker in 2004. Adams adds to his total to the 45-yard line, tackled by Raekwon McMillan.
98-yarder against Wake Forest, Sean. I believe the longest play from scrimmage in Notre Dame history. Explosive.
That's the longest run ever by a freshman in college football history. Won't go 98 this time, but he does dive into Buckeye territory just across the 50 with a first down for Notre Dame.
People ask, well, how can you miss one player so much in Joey Bosa? Because he commands so much attention. There's rarely a play where he's not double teamed, and even at times triple teamed. And so now players have to start defeating their own blockers like Michael Hill did right there.
Hill, the third stringer, upended Dexter Williams. Bosa out for targeting. That was with 5 minutes and change left in the first quarter. Adolphus Washington, terrific defensive tackle, would have been playing in his last game. Second team All Big Ten. Out after being arrested, charged with misdemeanor solicitation back in mid-December. Tommy Shutt, key member of that defensive front, out with a broken foot. Fuller with Garyon Conley on his back, no flag, and an incomplete pass.
Nice job of Garyon Conley keeping his right arm free. Oftentimes the tendency is to hook Will Fuller, but he keeps his right arm free and comes with that left hand.
They're clearly going after Garyon Conley opposite Eli Apple. You see, it doesn't matter whether it's Fuller or any of the other receivers. They want to target number 8.
Third down and 10 from midfield. Kaiser trying to design roll away from the rush, and he threw an interception. Tyvis Powell, second time he has picked one off today. The first one got wiped out by the Bosa targeting call. This one stands.
They started out with a zone with a pressure look. Then they drop off to a zone pressure. So he's thinking, man, Tyvis Powell's no way going to be in that hole. But Tyvis Powell running and playing routes. It's the way to do it.
Third interception of the season and the first Notre Dame turnover.
What Ohio State does here is they show a 2-deep look. On the snap of the ball, they're going to bail, and it's going to be a 3-deep look, and Deshaun Kaiser does not make the adjustment. Number 23, Tyvis Powell, is running right to the receiver, not covering dirt, but covering a man. And that was a 2-deep look shell. On a snap of the ball, they rotated to 3-deep, and I love the fact that Tyvis Powell didn't play dirt. He played a man, was able to get a pick.
Turnovers have been a problem this year for Notre Dame, -5 for the year. They were -4 in the 2 losses. Stanford and Clemson. Ezekiel Elliott on first down for Ohio State gets 4 to the 45. We're under 5 minutes to go now in the third quarter, and the Buckeyes leading 35-21. Elliott in trouble and dropped by Jared Grace. Jonathan Bonner, a backup defensive lineman, had the original penetration that blew up the play.
Outstanding effort by Grace right here, coming from all the way across the field and using his speed to get Ezekiel Elliott down in open field, and that's not easy to do.
Loss of 7. And with a 14-point lead, no quick tempo here for the Buckeyes. Four-man rush, no penetration at all. Thomas can't get away from Cole Luke. Down at the 49, 2 yards short of the first down. Big tackle by Luke, the only Notre Dame player from here in Arizona, from Chandler. He's the nephew of Darren Woodson, the great Dallas Cowboy. Well, it looked like Urban Meyer might be thinking about going for it.
He loves to go for it. Always be alert for fakes in these type of situations, even though you have a 14-point lead. Urban loves to fake it when nobody else in the world would fake it. So be alert for that.
Field position and distance. Typically would see a fake. Cameron Johnston punts it away. And it'll be downed inside the 5-yard line. Garyon Conley first down there. They're going to mark it at the 5-yard line. 46-yard punt.
Cassidy Hubbard with your studio update. Michigan pulling away from Florida over on ABC. Sione Homa, the senior fullback, with his 5th touchdown of the season. Wolverines in control, up 31-7 on ABC. Sean, Chris, back to you.
Wow, impressive performance against a Florida team that really started to fade toward the end of the year.
Yeah, well, they lost Will Greer early on, and that hurt their offense and their growth of that offense.
Important possession now for Notre Dame. Down by 2 scores. The defense just forced its first 3 and out of the day. 3 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. Sean McDonough, Chris Spielman, Todd McShay. Happy New Year. Happy to have you with us. The start of a great day of bowl action here on ESPN. Oh, Kaiser, awkward throw. Looked like he got tangled up in traffic. Lobbed it out for Will Fuller. That could have been a disaster. It wound up as a 2-yard gain.
Let's see if he not used to taking a lot of snaps from under center, so sometimes that center will step on your foot on the back.
Still never had a good grip on it. Then he ran into Quentin Nelson, the guard. The veteran, experienced offensive line. Everybody but Nelson on that line has started every game this year. Nelson started all but 2. Kaiser driven back by Raekwon McMillan and Darren Lee.
You know, the adjustment that Ohio State has made defensively of all the misdirections, what they started to do out of the short corner of the field, or the short side of the field. They're bringing Eli Apple off that corner. Eli Apple was in the backfield but missed a tackle. But that's what Chris Ash and Luke Fickell have decided to do to slow that down.
There's Luke Fickell, co-coordinator with Chris Ash, who is the new head coach at Rutgers and has been splitting time. He is here with the Buckeyes for the bowl game. Greg Schiano, former head coach at Rutgers and the Tampa Bay Bucks, is going to take Ash's spot in Columbus. 3rd and 5. Kaiser running out of time, incomplete in the direction of Tory Hunter. Darren Lee put heat on the quarterback, and Eli Apple had the coverage.
Well, he tried to go to Will Fuller in the flat, but Von Bell from his safety position did an outstanding job of closing. Look at his eyes. He's looking for Will Fuller right away. Then he had to come off.
I'm not a huge fan in that situation of rolling the protection. Let him move if he wants to move, but you take away a part of the field when you do that.
That's Chris Ash right behind the pole now, the new head coach at Rutgers. 13th assistant from an Urban Meyer staff to become a head coach. 10 of them are active. Jalen Marshall fielded the Newsom punt. They got plucked down by Tory Hunter at the 48. There's a late flag, as you see at the end of the play. 59-yard punt. Newsom's kicked some long ones indoors here today.
During the return, holding on the receiving team, number 13, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Eli Apple called for the hold.
See where Eli comes in right here. He has his hands outside, and you have to be able to let that go, and ended up throwing him to the ground. That's an easy call for the officials to make when they see that body being torqued a certain way. Hands were outside.
J.T. Barrett, quick pop to Curtis Samuel, former running back. First down at the 50-yard line, gain of 15. Elijah Schmidt made the tackle. The Rose Bowl game presented by Northwestern Mutual, Stanford and Iowa. That's at 5 o'clock. Kevin Hogan, the quarterback for Stanford, will make his third Rose Bowl start. And then Oklahoma State and Ole Miss tonight from New Orleans in the All-State Sugar Bowl on ESPN and live on the ESPN app. Final minute of the third quarter. Ohio State has not trailed in the game. Led by 21 at one point. Late in the first half, 28-7. J.T. Barrett carried to the 45-yard line.
Give Ezekiel Elliott a little break. They come out and go empty. They get Curtis Samuel in a matchup against Grace, wide receiver on linebacker. They'll take that all day. And of course, they have the quarterback run game, whether it's draw, counter, power, with a single back in J.T. Barrett.
.84 yards rushing for Barrett against the 65th ranked rushing defense in the regular season in the country, Notre Dame. Short completion to Jalen Marshall. He got spun down by Cole Luke and Joe Schmidt, and that will take us to the end of the third quarter. Each team scored one touchdown in the third quarter. Chris Brown, the catch for Notre Dame, and Ezekiel Elliott, his fourth touchdown to the game for Ohio State.
It isn't always easy to know where you stand financially. Multiple accounts, investments, insurance. It can leave you wondering how it all fits together. At Northwestern Mutual, we help you see your whole picture, find out what you truly want, and then together we design a plan to go get it. There's a confidence that comes in knowing what financial security is and doing what it takes to achieve it. At Northwestern Mutual, we help you live life differently.
AT&T presents the strongest of the strong.
What are you guys doing to get pumped for the game?
Streaming Rudy.
That's a great movie. I like that movie. I love the strong movies. Let's see what we're looking.
Hey, guys.
That's not Rudy. That's actor Sean Astin.
Yeah. Rudy.
You can call me Sean, guys. It's been 22 years.
Come on, Rudy. Come relax.
Please call me Sean.
Rudy, Rudy, Rudy.
Get stronger with AT&T, the network with the nation's strongest 4G LTE signal.
Welcome back to ESPN's presentation of the 2016 Battle Frog Fiesta Bowl from University of Phoenix Stadium, the home of the Arizona Cardinals. They'll host the Seahawks here on Sunday. Peter McLaughlin, president of the Seahawks, alongside Michael Bidwell, the owner of the Arizona Cardinals. And on the right of that picture was Steve Keim, the general manager of the Cardinals. Two Super Bowl caliber teams will go head to head here to round out the regular season on Sunday. There's Michael Bidwell, and on the right, Steve Keim, and what a team they have assembled.
He has. He's done a great job, and don't forget the vice president of player personnel, Terry McDonough. No, he's really good and a talented
Terrific.
guy. And
very proud of Terry. He's done a great job working with Steve to assemble a great team.
Should be in line for a couple GM jobs that may be open this offseason in the NFL. He's earned it.
On 1st and 10, Barrett the play fake. Good coverage in the secondary, so JT runs and gets about 8. James Onwalu forced him to the ground. They're in field goal range now, and any kind of score here would make it a 3-score game.
That's just tough to do. You do a great job of coverage, but anytime, and we see it every week in college football, you got a running quarterback. It's hard.
Barrett fires, caught. Michael Thomas, the nephew of Keyshawn Johnson. He's going to follow his uncle to the NFL.
He's a hard-working wide receiver, great size. I know Todd has him in his top 32. Solid hands, strong with the ball after he catches it.
Ohio State's leading receiver for the second year in a row. 7 catches today, 56 for the year, giving him 110 in the last 2 seasons combined. Barrett, look out. Andrew Trumbetti got enough of them to get him to the ground back at the 26-yard line.
You see Trumbetti coming from his defensive end position, avoiding the block of Ezekiel Elliott and able to seal the deal on JT Barrett. Normally Zeke does not miss on that, but that ball has to be thrown. JT has to make a decision a little bit quicker or step up into that pocket.
Trumbetti, a sophomore from New Jersey, ordinarily a backup, but he sees a lot of time. 2nd and 16. Back to Ezekiel Elliott. And back into the red zone. Elijah Schmidt, the tackle, just inside the 20-yard line. 3rd down, a little bit more than 10 to go for a 1st down.
It's a good opportunity to take a shot to Thomas. Just saw the catch he had. They haven't tried to work him vertically or down the field at all. He's got good size. He uses his body well and very good with his ball skills when the ball's in the air.
That's probably the one question mark on him is, can he get vertical? Nice little press coverage. We'll watch.
That was a big part of their offense last year when they had the speedy Devin Smith, but they haven't been able to throw it deep. Not a lot of field to throw it into, but they throw it to Thomas and he dropped the ball.
Yeah, but so much for the ball skills, huh?
Yeah, that's excellent, Todd. And right there, he did defeat press coverage, and the ball's thrown beautifully to Michael Thomas. And take a look right here. He's going to beat the one-on-one press coverage, runs a nice post corner.
You don't see a lot of that from him. Ball was out perfectly, right on time, too. Great throw.
Do you think we'll hear Keyshawn Johnson on ESPN say, come on, man?
He might. I know he'd be harder on his family than he is himself.
Nurnberger just did sneak it in. A big field goal for Sean Nurnberger, 37 yards. First field goal attempt of the game for either team. It's back to a 3-score game with just 12:10 to go. The stage is set. It's number 1 and number 2, the 2 best teams in the country, Alabama and Clemson. 2 great teams here in Glendale 1 week from Monday night at 8:30 for the College Football National Championship presented by AT&T. Alabama trying to win its 4th in 7 years. Clemson at 2nd in school history. And that should be a terrific matchup. Who do you think will be favored in that game? I'm sure there's probably a line that's already out. I bet Alabama will be the favorite.
Yeah, I think Alabama will be the favorite and should be the favorite. I mean, they just are a team that's gotten stronger as the year's gone on. Coker's more comfortable at the quarterback position.
I told you about a touchdown favorite. Those are 2 great teams. C.J. Sanders brings the kickoff back to the 16 again. Outstanding coverage of the kickoff by Ohio State. So 12 minutes to go, and Notre Dame has to do a lot, and they have to do it quickly. Down by 17.
Well, they do. They have to go their up-tempo, hurry-up offense. And can Kaiser handle the disguise of Ohio State? Ohio State has an array of blitzes and zone pressures, man pressures. They started bringing a corner off. So they do have playmakers, Sean, to attack down the field vertically. They've been going after Garyon Conley when they do go deep.
Kaiser scrambles for a yard, chopped at the sideline by Eli Apple.
He had Conley. He had Fuller on Conley, and he came off of him too early. Fuller's going to beat press coverage. Now watch, he's behind him. You have to understand that he can run. You throw that ball out there and let him go get it. And I think he's just a little hesitant about pulling that trigger, but he had Fuller, who had Conley on his back hip.
Joshua Perry from the linebacker position comes on a blitz, didn't get there. Here's Fuller in the clear. On the sore ankle, does he have enough? Yes, touchdown Irish. He ran away from Von Bell. 81 yards. 106 yards receiving. Obviously, most of it on that play. His 8th touchdown catch of the year of at least 45 yards.
And they're working on Garyon Conley. Garyon slips, and nobody's going to catch Will Fuller once he gets out in the open space. The adjustment Ohio State needs to make next time they play man-to-man, you have to take Eli Apple, put your good on their good, and get Conley off of them. They're going to come back, and they're going to keep attacking them.
Justin Yoon, the freshman, hails from Nashville, Tennessee, adds the extra point. Every time it looks like Ohio State might be ready to put the Irish away, they fight back. Another big play by Will Fuller, the junior from Philadelphia. Only Michael Floyd, a Cardinal, has caught more touchdown passes for Notre Dame.
The 2016 Battle Frog Fiesta Bowl, brought to you by Battle Frog. Battling is believing. Chick-fil-A, we didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich. And Honda.
Aerial coverage of today's game provided by Goodyear. Whether you're going for it from a few yards out or from miles away, go with a tire with superior performance. Goodyear, more driven. Will Fuller just went the distance, 81 yards, the second longest pass play in Fiesta Bowl history. The longest was in the last meeting between these two schools, 2006 at Sun Devil Stadium. Santonio Holmes of Ohio State, 85-yard pass from Troy Smith. Jalen Marshall brings back the Tyler Newsome kickoff. All the way to the 37-yard line. Let's go back to the 7th offensive player of the year of more than 70 yards for Notre Dame.
Because of the deep threat, Garyon Conley bails way fast out of there. Will Fuller catches a little hookup. Conley has too much space between him and the receiver. Fuller makes a miss, and nobody in college football will catch that man from behind once he's out in the open field.
Notre Dame's 7 plays this year of 70 yards or more, most in the nation. They have explosive playmakers on offense. Their 15th touchdown of the year of at least 50 yards. That is the single season Notre Dame record. Ezekiel Elliott grabbed by the jersey by Matthias Farley. Gain to the 41. 11-13 to go in Ohio State, trying to add to a 10-point lead. Just a 3-man rush. Barrett throws short, incomplete. Broken up by Cole Luke. Looked like Marshall could have caught it. Tough to tell if it was more of a drop than it was a breakup.
An outstanding break right here by Cole Luke. And you know, you'd like to see Jalen Marshall work back to that football with a little more urgency. You know, they're starting to jump those routes. They're doing a better job. The Fighting Irish are playing routes. Now, you also have to be aware that if you're jumping routes up here in the box to my right, they're seeing that. So a possible double move could be in play.
Huge 3rd down. They're 8 out of 12 on 3rd down today. The play clock at 1. 4-man rush. They twist inside. Didn't get there. 1st down. Nick Vanette, a big catch to the Notre Dame 45-yard line. His first catch of the day.
He's such a good receiver. Doesn't get a lot of opportunities, but he does a good job of finding the hole. And the pass by JT Barrett was nice and high, so he could use that 6'6" frame to go get it.
Playing in his last game, 19th catch of the year for Vanette. Honorable mention, all Big Ten this season. 2 tight ends in the game. They both shifted to the right. Vanette with Marcus Ball. Elliott off the left side. The side occupied by the great tackle Taylor Decker, playing in his last game, his 42nd career start for the Buckeyes. The winner of the Big Ten's Remington Pace Award is the Offensive Lineman of the Year in the Big Ten. Mammoth, 6'8", 315-pounder.
Urban Meyer gave him a lot of credit at the tradition of senior tackle, where it kind of galvanized the team for the Michigan game after that tough loss to Michigan State. And by the simple words, I just want to make my dad proud. And Urban said that really affected his whole team.
Senior tackle tradition before the Michigan game. Seniors get up and speak, and Decker was very emotional, helped get them back up after that deflating loss. A kick in the gut, as Urban Meyer called it, against Michigan State. Urban said there wasn't a dry eye in the room after Decker got done speaking, and he knew his team would be ready to go against the team up north. Big 3rd down and 3 here now with under 9.5 to go.
Good call by Brian Van Gorder that last play, Sean, understanding they're getting a heavy dose of number 15 Ezekiel Elliott. He had a blitz right up the middle, so there are no gaps to run.
On 3rd and 3, design keep for Barrett. First down. Gave a little stiff arm to Cole Luke and skipped out of bounds inside the 30. 9 minutes to go. The clock will keep running for the Buckeyes. 1st and 10.
It's just so hard to defend because of the power of Ezekiel Elliott, and a great read by Barrett. Once that end dumped inside, Todd, he went outside.
But he does a great job tempoing his runs. He's not the biggest guy, not the most powerful, not the fastest, but he knows when he sees something and then he explodes to it. He shows really good initial acceleration. It's a big part of why he's so successful running the football.
He's over 100 yards now with 101 on 20 carries. Brian Kelly said the first job of the defense, stop the run game of Barrett. They haven't done it. High throw there over the head of Jalen Marshall with Nick Watkins nearby.
You can see how that month of practice has really helped JT Barrett. He was very confident in our meetings that the Buckeye passing game is going to be better. Today so far, 19 for 29, 211 yards and a touchdown and a pick. But he's been more comfortable, I think, in the pocket.
Great team leader, voted one of the captains, very competitive. He said he gets that from his mother, Stacy, who's a nurse back home at Wichita Falls, Texas. She drove 13 hours to be here today. JT throws off the hands of Samuel. And here's how competitive she is. When JT was in high school, his mother went back to school to go to nursing school, and she challenged him to see who would get better grades. And Stacy got all straight A's. She won the bet. It still kind of sticks with JT, even though he's very proud of his mother.
Should be. His dad serves our country in the Army Reserve. All right, 3rd and 10 here. So Notre Dame, play the sticks, because you understand Ohio State's mentality is the short intermediate routes. Play the sticks and play the routes. Don't cover dirt, cover men. Jump routes. You have to do it.
They don't want to snap. I think they're going to let it tick all the way down and call a timeout. It might be 4-down territory. They don't like to kick field goals. They switched field goal kickers mid-season. 10-point game with 8.5 to go. Following the All-State Sugar Bowl on ESPN tonight, stick around for SportsCenter at night with Jay Harris and Nicole Briscoe. They'll have highlights from all the day's bowl games, the NHL's Winter Classic, the NBA, college basketball, and much more. SportsCenter at night, right after Oklahoma State and Ole Miss on ESPN tonight, streaming live on Watch ESPN and the ESPN app.
JT has a pre-snap read. It's zone because the corner's out here on Elliott, so that tells him it's automatic zone.
Pressure on JT Barrett. Hit as he throws, incomplete. Intended for Jalen Marshall. Andrew Trumbetti again. And as we said, they don't like to kick field goals, and they're not going to here, apparently.
Well, it's going to be a zone pressure, and did a good job of disguising and coming late. JT's a little late on his read right here. He had Jalen Marshall sitting there in the middle, but Trumbetti disrupts the throw.
They had 1st and 10 at the 29 through 3 straight passes, all of them incomplete. And they are going to go for it. Looked like Urban Meyer was thinking about it. Now they have to hurry. 1 second on the play clock, and he gets a timeout. Now they'll have just one left. Jack Willoughby was the field goal kicker at the beginning of the year. He was 7 for 11, which in this day and age isn't great. They switched to Nurnberger, but that field goal that Sean kicked earlier in this quarter was his first of the season. He's 1 for 2 when he's been their kicker for the second part of the year, second half of the year. As Urban said when we visited him during the week, they go for it on 4th down just about every time they can.
At 4th and 10, the problem that they have is that they're having a little bit of a problem with the zone pressures of Notre Dame, who's done a great job of jumping routes off their zone pressure. If they can protect, there's always weaknesses in the zone pressure if you can protect. What Brian Van Gorder and Notre Dame want to do is make him throw the ball early, 1, because of the skies of the pressure, and 2, because of 10 yards. It takes time to run a route 10 yards or more.
So they'll go for it on 4th down and 10 from the Notre Dame 29-yard line, leading by 10 with 8:25 to go. Barrett has passed for 12 first downs today and has run for 7. Notre Dame blitzes. They're in the face of Barrett. He throws off the hands of Marshall and incomplete. Flag down in the secondary.
Well, they got Marshall.
Holding. Defense, number 36, on an eligible pass receiver. 10-yard penalty, automatic first down.
An enormous flag against Brian Van Gorder's defense.
You see right here, Cole Luke is going to take Marshall one-on-one. He turned his shoulders outside. That was a great read by Brandon Marshall to bring it inside, and Cole Luke had nothing to do to prevent the touchdown to grab it. A grab occurred right before that.
Yep. Stuck his arm out, threw him off the route. Good call, tough call against the Irish, but the right one. Blitz again. Now they're selling out. They kind of have to in this situation. Elliott spun to the grass inside the 15-yard line. Notre Dame would have had the ball. No points added to the board for Ohio State. Now the clock continues. It's still Ohio State ball with a great chance to add to the 10-point lead. Under 8 to go.
I can't tell you how impressed I am with the Fighting Irish, with all the injuries, losing their leader. They're playing with great heart, great effort, and didn't expect anything else, though, to be quite honest. Proud, proud players.
Elliott run down from behind by Andrew Trumbetti, who's become a force here in the second half.
That's the first time I think J.T. Barrett has had a bad read. Right there, when you have Trumbetti selling out and able to catch Ezekiel Elliott from behind, if you keep that, that's an empty corner around the end. He might be dancing in the end zone.
Again, they're letting the play clock run down, wisely so. Might be 4-down territory, although from here it would be a high percentage field goal attempt for Nurnberger. Seven minutes to go. They snapped it with 2. 5-man rush, and they're going to get Barrett down near the 25-yard line. James Onwalu, the linebacker, came on a blitz.
I think he misses Jalen Marshall. From watching it from up here, I thought he had Jalen Marshall or Braxton Miller open in the seam right there. See that? He's so late. I don't know why he doesn't throw it, because you have a defensive lineman on Braxton Miller. If he would have pulled that trigger, that's the end zone. He had the right read, but decided to tuck it. He missed Braxton Miller for 6.
So here's Nurnberger after a 5-yard loss. 1 for 2 this season, 1 for 1 today, hit from 37, and that's a lot like the first one, just inside the left upright from 38. So they add to the lead, and they take time off the clock. 6:09 to go. The Buckeyes 41, the Irish 28. welcome you back to ESPN's coverage of the 2016 Battle Frog Fiesta Bowl from Glendale, Arizona. There's the trophy that'll go to the winner. Bowl game that dates back to 1971. Ohio State trying to win it for the 5th time. In 7 appearances, more than any school. Jack Willoughby will kick off. C.J. Sanders hesitated, and he's in trouble again. Boy, the kickoff coverage has been fantastic for Ohio State. Terry McLaurin leading the coverage, but there are plenty of white shirts around him. Here's a look at today's good hands play, brought to you by Allstate.
Well, it's the mesh point, and J.T. Barrett on the zone read. Right here, he's going to read the 2 defensive ends outside. That tells him to feed the ball to Ezekiel Elliott. Now watch the defensive ends go down inside, trusting and being patient with that fake, then getting outside on the speed option. He's done pretty good all day, batting about 98%. I thought he missed a couple in that last series, but for a zone read quarterback, he's outstanding in understanding the concept.
That Ohio State offense was on the field for 5 minutes and 18 seconds while adding 3 points. The penalty against Notre Dame on 4th down resulted in an extra 2 minutes and 2 seconds coming off the clock. 6:02 to go as Kaiser throws a deep ball, and Chris Brown couldn't run under it. Garyon Conley the coverage.
They put Eli Apple on Will Fuller. They put Garyon Conley on Chris Brown. So right away they're going after Garyon Conley, not necessarily going to Will Fuller. They're going to whoever Garyon Conley has, and Garyon does a good job of having a short memory as a corner and providing outstanding coverage.
If he's the lesser of your 2 corners, you have a pretty good secondary.
Yeah.
They have 4 guys in that secondary who all might play in the NFL. Junior safety Von Bell, one of the best in the country. This might be the end of his career. Kaiser knocked down by Tyquan Lewis, the redshirt sophomore from Tarboro, North Carolina.
Well, he's had, what, 9 sacks on the year. He's just a great effort guy. Kind of been a surprise, pleasant surprise for Urban Meyer this year. Never quit.
When you talked about it, Chris, they're moving Eli Apple around with Fuller. So now what you have to do if you're Notre Dame, more motions, try to some bunch formations, try to take advantage of them being in man coverage, and a rub route, something to get him off the line of scrimmage and to get him open.
Yeah, go for the pick. They got Conley up at the top, matched up with Chris Brown.
3rd down and 11. Kaiser sacked again, swung down by Sam Hubbard. In for the ejected Joey Bosa.
Well, Sam Hubbard, again, the future of the Ohio State pass rush, right here working on Quentin Nelson. He's had such great quick shot. First of all, he sets him up inside, and he uses his right arm, turns his shoulders, and like all Ohio State pass rushers, he's able to turn and flip those hips to close the gate. And that's Notre Dame's at a disadvantage because Ohio State's, all their pass rushers' ears are pinned back in a 3-point track stance, taken off on a sprinter race to the quarterback. And that's tough on offensive linemen.
4th and 18 from the 2. Notre Dame has to punt with 4.5 minutes to go. Jalen Marshall caught the low line drive. Ohio State's had a big edge in special teams play today. They'll set up shop at the 23-yard line. 19-yard punt return. Ohio State has led throughout, led 14-0 after a quarter, led 28-7 late in the half. J.T. Barrett doing what he does in the air and with his feet.
Just really a good ball game for J.T. A great ball game overall. I am impressed by the courage that Notre Dame has played with. Didn't expect anything else, but Ohio State just strong, and their passing game has been clicking today, which they've been looking for all year.
Elliott inside the 20. And again, Chris, you have to give the Notre Dame, the Ohio State kickoff coverage team a lot of credit. They've been touchbacks, but when Notre Dame's tried to return kickoffs, they've started at their own 12, the 13, the 17, and the 10-yard line.
I know that Ohio State is number 1 or number 2 in the country in kickoff coverage, and if you're going to play and put yourself on the first or second team, you have to earn your way for Urban Meyer on special teams.
Barrett snapped it with 8. They certainly could take a little more time off the clock. Joe Schmidt made the tackle, loss of about a half yard. And if you're Notre Dame, wouldn't you start using your timeouts?
Yeah, I would start using them. Absolutely. Because you know that Ohio State's going to take their time. And what you want to do, I don't know if I'd have that ball in the left hash for Nurnberger, because when he's close on those field goals, he's almost missing left. You want to maybe have it in the middle of the field if you're playing that way.
Ohio State has 1 timeout left, and looks like Urban is going to use it when the play clock is just about to expire. We'll step aside for just 1 minute with 2:52 to go at the Battle Frog Fiesta Bowl. Happy New Year, everyone. From Glendale, Arizona, Sean McDonough, Chris Spielman, and Todd McShay. Watching this battle of college football royalty. Ohio State and Notre Dame, the Buckeyes have led throughout. Each team lost its best defensive player early in the game. Joey Bosa targeting ejection. Jalen Smith for Notre Dame, a left leg injury. J.T. Barrett, conservative play on 3rd and 6. And Notre Dame will use its first timeout with 2:47 to go. But Sam Hubbard just had a big sack standing in for Bosa. He's played a lot this year. Matter of fact, both he and Tyquan Lewis, who had sacks on back-to-back plays, have more sacks for the year than Joey Bosa. Here's a look at the injury, that left leg going into the ground awkwardly for Jalen Smith in the first quarter.
See here, Joey Bosa coming in, not an egregious hit, but enough to warrant the targeting call, the proper call, because he hit and ducked his head, hit him with the crown of the helmet. It's a shame that we didn't get to watch him play the rest of the game. Like I said, I think he's not the best, the second best all-time Ohio State defensive player.
Well, you're very modest, because a lot of people would say you in the College Football Hall of Fame are the best defensive player in the history of Ohio State football.
I think what Joey can do and the versatility that he'll bring to an NFL team. He can play a 3 technique and a 5 technique. He can drop. He can play a 7. He can do it all on that defensive line. He's in for a bright future.
So here's Kai Nurnberger. Already 2 for 2. His first 2 made field goals of the year. He only tried 1 prior to today. That's a spot a little bit more toward the center that time. There's a nice little draw. McShay wishes he had that off the tee at Whisper Rock. Last 3 possessions, 3 field goals for the Buckeyes. And now a 16-point lead. And Notre Dame's going to need 2 8s here in 2:42 remaining. And we look ahead to the next college game in this building 1 week from Monday night for the national championship, Alabama and Clemson.
Well, I look at this game, Sean, and Alabama should be the favorite. I think Clemson can get them. They're balanced offensively. I think Deshaun Watson's an excellent quarterback. Wayne Gallman is an underrated running back. I think he's really talented. And if you look at history, Alabama does have problems when they face a mobile quarterback. But on the other hand, this defense this year has set a record for Nick Saban coach defenses as far as sacks goes. Going into last night, they had 46 going into that game last night.
And that was a dominant performance against the team, Michigan State. We saw a lot of this year, and they're a terrific team. They're certainly better than they look, but when you're great, especially in that front 7 on defense like Alabama, you can make a lot of very good teams look bad.
Yeah, and they took Michigan State's running game, which their type of offense, if they don't have any type of running game, it's tough for them to win. They're just not built that way.
Clemson overcame a 1-point deficit at the half. The Orange Bowl to run away from Oklahoma yesterday. C.J. Sanders will try again. Boy, if we had an MVP of the game, it might be the kickoff coverage team for Ohio State. They are great.
And all speed. You see that. It's all wide receivers, defensive backs, and linebackers.
Dante Booker down there. Coming up next, it's 5 o'clock Eastern time. 3 o'clock here in the Valley of the Sun. Over a half hour from now, Stanford and Iowa.
I really like Stanford. I had them. I thought they were going to make the playoff. And what Kirk Ferentz does at Iowa, just, he just gets it going and finds a way. Both two very tough physical football teams. It'll be a fun one to watch.
Josh Adams out to the 32-yard line. Joshua Perry, Garyon Conley made the tackle. It took a long time for people around college football to believe in Iowa this year, but as the season went on, they kept winning, beat some good teams at the end of the year, then really gave Michigan State a battle in the Big Ten championship game. They earned believers. Samir Carlisle, the intended receiver, but again, that throw well short from Deshaun Kaiser.
They have a very good defensive coordinator, Phil Parker, does an outstanding job. And they don't make mental mistakes on defense. They're always in the right position. And when you're that type of team, you don't give up many big plays.
Four-man rush. Kaiser throws. Brown the catch. About 6 yards on the play, and he got out of bounds with 2:17 to go. We have to pick the offensive and defensive player of the games here. I think J.T. Barrett would be a deserving winner, although Elliott has 4 touchdown runs.
I know.
Has run for 142. That's a hard choice.
Yeah, when J.T. Barrett over 300 total yards, I think defense, I think Eli Apple's just been outstanding. And even if the guy catches the ball like he does, on Eli, rarely do they get any yards after catch. And just the total, and when you have trouble picking a defensive MVP, that's a statement about a total team defensive effort.
Will Fuller, his 6th catch of the game. This one not over yet. But they have a lot to do. They need 2 touchdowns, 2 two-point conversions. They're in the Buckeye territory. Alize Jones, the tight end. 1:42 to go. Clock stops to move the chains.
He's in that track to be the next great Notre Dame tight end. Produced a lot of them. Tyler Eifert, Kyle Rudolph. Great players.
Look out. Kaiser didn't see the rush coming. It got knocked out by Darren Lee, and Ohio State has recovered. And that should put it in the win column for the Buckeyes. Tracy Sprinkle recovered the fumble.
Well, Darren Lee has a decision to make. He's a talented guy. I think he can benefit from coming back to school. But this is why he's a valuable guy, because he has speed, he blitzes, he avoids contact, and he's able to finish when he gets here, putting that face mask, not the crown of the helmet, the face mask right on the football. Tracy Sprinkle there to clean it up with the recovery.
And Urban Meyer with the realization that will tuck it in the win column. Another resume booster for who is clearly now one of the great coaches in the history of college football. With this win, he'll go to 10-2 all-time in bowl games.
You know what I'd like
Timeout call by Notre Dame.
You know what I'd like to see Urban do? I'd like to see him take Ezekiel Elliott out and let Ezekiel have his moment. He's been tremendous, and Urban is you mentioned, Sean, 3 national championships. It's amazing. What, 85% winning?
And he called this season a grind. And you can see it. He's tired. We met with him the other day, and it wasn't reminiscent of when he almost had to retire completely from coaching because of the way it ended in Florida. But here's the numbers we were talking about. He's 9-2 starting today and about to be 10-2. Among the best of all time, Kyle Whittingham, John Robinson, Tom O'Brien, to me, a coach who never got the credit he deserved for what he did at Boston College. 8-2 in bowl games. Elliott, we'll see if he gets the curtain call. Urban Meyer with this win will be 50-4 after 4 seasons at Ohio State. As you said, 3 national titles, 2 at Florida, last year with Ohio State, and he's just completing his 14th season as a college head coach. Bowling Green, Utah, Florida, where he won 2 national titles, and now at Ohio State. He won his first 24 games as head coach at Ohio State. And yet he described this season as a grind. The expectations, preseason unanimous #1. That's the first time that's happened in the history of the AP poll, which dates back to 1950. The quarterback uncertainty. They never really did get the offense going consistently.
You know, that's what I think was the biggest grind on him, was that offense that he's been looking for. Normally explosive and balanced, and just nothing in the throwing game on a consistent basis. And that will be addressed with vigor in the offseason.
Right, some disciplinary issues off the field. They had to replace a coach. Recruiting is really heating up right now. And he was, a couple of times we talked to him the other night, Chris, he put his head down on the table. I almost thought he was going to fall asleep, and it wasn't because of McShay's boring questions. He was just very tired.
Well, Todd will do that to me in the weight room. We're going to do mandatory Battle Frog runs next year with the electric shocks. I'm going to put that as a Spielman family outing. Battle
But
Frog
don't you
runs.
think now, with his resume, and what we just showed you, he has to be regarded among the great coaches in the history, the very greatest coaches in the history of college football, and he's just 51 years old.
I think there's no doubt that his legacy is sealed. Everything he does from here on out is extra. And the thing about it, he doesn't approach it that way. He approaches it with urgency. And he understands, how do you win in college football? Great coaches, X's and O's, yes. But his #1 priority, I think, is recruiting and getting and acquiring talent. He understands that because they have depth at all positions.
We talk about the winning percentage, 85%, and they'll get a little bit better with this win. All time, the only coaches with a higher winning percentage, the 2 Notre Dame legends, Newt Rockne and Frank Leahy. When you talk about the all-time great coaches and legends of college football, they're at the top of those lists, with Bear Bryant and a few others. C.J. Sanders won't even bother to try to return the punt with Garyon Conley right there in his face. We're just getting started here on ESPN today, folks. Coming up in just a matter of minutes, the Rose Bowl game presented by Northwestern Mutual. Stanford and Iowa tonight, the All-State Sugar Bowl from New Orleans, Oklahoma State and Ole Miss. Kevin Hogan will be just the 3rd quarterback to start 3 Rose Bowls. Cornelius Green of Ohio State and Rick Leach of Michigan back in the 70s. The others, and the Gatorade bath for Urban Meyer.
Yeah, Ezekiel was trying to hold him in there. Urban still showing good movement as he was a defensive back at the University of Cincinnati. What a career Ezekiel Elliott's had. And you know, a guy that takes the pounding that Ezekiel's taken throughout his career, he needs to go to the NFL. I think I would advise any running back, you need to go. It's time to go.
He's already said it, and he's already told Urban Meyer it wasn't just in the frustration after that Michigan State game when he criticized the play calling and then later apologized. Urban Meyer said, I didn't disagree with what he was saying, just didn't particularly appreciate the way he went about it. But Ezekiel owned it.
I think Urban owned it. I mean, Urban owned that. You know, I don't know what they were doing, and Urban got involved, I think, a little bit more in the play calling as the season went on after that.
Kaiser throws. Good catch by Tory Hunter for a first down out at the 27-yard line. Notre Dame will run up and try to snap it at least one more time. Their season is going to end at 10-3. And Brian Kelly said yesterday he's very proud of this team, given all the injuries that they had, the schedule that they played. They beat some terrific teams. 4 teams they beat had 10 wins or more. And Ohio State finishes the year with a victory and 12-1.
meet Brian Kelly. I think that was Brian Kelly's best coaching job of his career this year. I really do. He's outstanding. Notre Dame is fortunate to have a coach like Brian Kelly.
Of course, with the success of these two coaches, their names always come up with NFL openings, and there'll be a bunch in this offseason. But both said very strongly this week they have no interest in going to the NFL. 4 years in a row with 12 or more wins for the Buckeyes. Ezekiel Elliott finishes with 149 yards rushing on 27 carries and a bowl record 4 touchdown runs. And you see Todd there with Coach Meyer. Todd?
Coach, with this win, your seniors get a 50th win. It ties the record for a class with Boise State. How important was it to get those guys this final win?
Oh, I mean, it's as important as anything we've ever done. You know, this group of kids came in with blind faith 4 years ago, and things are kind of, you know, a little turbulent. And to come in and win 50 games and say you're, you know, one of the best teams ever to play college football in that 4-year run, that's a hell of a statement.
You guys win the national championship last year, go through a lot this year. How would you describe this season?
Oh, it is what it is. You know, people have been there, and it's a grind, man. It's expectation levels are sky high, and nothing's ever good enough. But these guys hung in there together, and they won the Fiesta Bowl and against a very good team.
It's a grind. I know you're a little tired, but you still look pretty good, man. I saw you with that Gatorade coming out.
Yeah, I got to get something to eat. I've been eating it very well last 2 days. I was worried about this game. They're a very good team.
Appreciate it, Coach. Thanks. Congratulations.
Todd mentioned it. 50 wins for the senior class, matching the FBS all-time record by that group from Boise State. They had 4 straight wins, 4 straight seasons of 12 or more wins, and finished in 2011 with 50 victories, as will Braxton Miller and these seniors. His career over.
He's an unselfish player. I mean, great quarterback, 2-time Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year, MVP. Switched to wide receiver, and I think he's going to be a good pro. Once he learns the nuances of the game as a wide receiver, and if he learns how to return, he can be a valuable asset to some NFL team.
Taylor Decker, left tackle, likely first-round pick as well. Joey Bosa back on the field after being ejected, perhaps the #1 overall pick in the upcoming draft.
It's kind of a happy, sad moment for the guys that are leaving, Sean. I just remember my last game, and you don't know what to feel. You're happy that you won, or you're happy that you gave everything you have, but you're sad because a part of your life is now over. Now you become an alum of the Ohio State University.
Well, I'm happy to have worked with you and Todd again this year, Chris, and our terrific crew led by our producer, Bo Garrett, director Mike Schwab. Happy holidays, my friend. You're the best.
God bless you, buddy.
Final score, 44-28. The Buckeyes beat the Irish, and Ohio State, your Battle Frog Fiesta Bowl champions. Top of the hour, the Rose Bowl game presented by Northwestern Mutual. Now let's go to the Intuit TurboTax College Football pregame show.